Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was saved by Karin, and found love in her arms part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. It was like somebody took the worst traits of Tsunade and cranked the Uzumaki to 11, pasty skin, short temper, red hair that seemed to have a vendetta against combs and style in general. And yet somehow his idiotic apprentice was heads over heels in love with the girl. It was like watching a girl playing with her new puppy. Oh sure, the girl loved Naruto too, that much was obvious to everybody but them it seemed. Yep, his apprentice was doomed to a life being shackled to one woman that loved him. Honestly, he was a little jealous. Hey girlie, Jiraiya whistled, calling her over like a dog. She glared at him. Or at least it looked like she was, it was hard to tell, she kept squinting at everything. What do you want, Lord Jiraiya? Despite the title, the girl had no respect in her voice, as though she was mocking him. What he really wanted was some goddamn respect, which was why he hadn't bothered to correct his student's wonderful habit of calling him master. He was Jiraiya, of the Sannin, the only one that wasn't broke or crazy. He was published too. Sure, his Ica series was the big seller, but he had plenty of other books that made his bank account not suck. What's your intent when we get back to Konoha? Get a pair of glasses, move in with Naruto, steal his bed, eat his food, and find a job or something, Karin said like she was reading a grocery list. The girl was as honest as the sun and as blunt as a barn. Jiraiya chuckled. Karin was starting to grow on him. Like a damn parasite. Well, do you have any skill that could be useful to Konoha? Or would you just be a civilian? I'm not a good fighter. She looked down in shame, adjusting her small pack as they continued down their path towards Konoha. Naruto was needlessly distracted just up ahead, practically bouncing. But, I have a few other skills that could be useful to Konoha, so I'll figure something out. What skills do you have exactly? He wanted her to have something trainable, something that would keep her in Konoha while he trained Naruto how to control the Kyuubi. Part of it was the danger, but most of it was for his wallet. Feeding an Uzumaki was expensive, feeding two would put a major dent in his bank account. And for that matter, who taught you? It was small, just the slightest bit of hesitation in her footstep, the slight furrowing of her brow, and the way her hand drifted towards her arm. All subtle things that could mean a million different things. Painful memories, reluctance, time to find a lie, guilt, perhaps all of the above and then some. Well, I can make this chain appear out of my hand, back to I think. I can't really control it yet, but I'm working on it. Don't know what good it'll do. To demonstrate her point, Karin extended her hand and dropped a small length of chain out of nowhere. Great. She just had to have the Uzumaki sealing chains. I see, but that's not much use in a non-combat role. I can do other stuff, she pouted. Like, I can sense chakra from really far away. Oh, now that could be very useful. How far away is really far away? A sensor could support just about any team, and if the girl had even remotely good chakra control, a sensor medic could be a potent combination. She shrugged. I don't know, 5 kilometers, maybe more. Jiraiya snorted. You don't have to lie to impress me, girl, just being a sensor at your age is impressive enough. I'm not lying. She huffed, all of her bravado coming back. Watch, there's going to be a family coming on the road in 5 minutes, they're going to have a donkey pulling a cart, 2 adults, and a baby. Now I know you're lying, you didn't even do anything. This girl had to be the biggest liar on earth. There was no way that she could get the kind of range, or that level of detail, or doing it like it was as easy as breathing. To do all 3 was just unheard of, and he had known many powerful sensors. Don't believe me? Go check yourself. Damn brat. Well, is there anything else you can do? Jiraiya grumbled, another reason why this girl was so not coming on the training trip. She was very likely to try to kill him when he was asleep. Besides, he didn't train girls. It was just on the list of things that didn't happen. Like, jutsu, or something you're good at. And who the hell taught you? She snorted like an angry pig. I don't know a lot of jutsu, okay. I learned most of what I do on my own. My mom taught me some stuff, but not a lot. I'm not good in a fight. You said that already. She was hiding something, or his name wasn't Jiraiya, Spymaster of Konoha. Look, I'm trying to help you find a place in Konoha, Tsunade may be willing to take you in because you're the brat's girlfriend, but that doesn't mean she'll let you freeload. I'm smart. She shrugged like it was an afterthought. You don't have to help me out, I'll figure out something useful I can do for my new home. Was this how Tsunade felt about him? To both love and hate somebody so much that he just wanted to punch her half the time. Good lord, she was basically a meaner version of Kushina, without the tomboy part. Look, she pointed ahead of them. Jiraiya had to stop walking. His mouth hung open ever so slightly. The girl was right. A donkey pulling a cart, with a young couple riding it, the woman with a swaddled baby. He snorted. Dumb luck, do it again and all. Naruto has the Kyuubi sealed inside of him, doesn't he? Karin asked, her eyes locked on the back of Naruto as he orbited around them like an excited dog on a leash. Again, this girl just kept doing her best to surprise him. Don't try to lie to me, I know what your chakra looks like when you're lying. You're joking. What the hell was this girl? That was it. He must have pissed off some Uzumaki witch that cursed him to have terrible luck with Uzumakis, as they kept being a pain in the necks when he was trying to train a stupid blonde. Everything I've told you has been true. She had such a smug smile on her face that it took all his will not to smack it off of her. Lord Jiraiya, but I'll take your silence as a yes. Yay, fine, the brats has the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. Jiraiya grumbled in a hushed tone, but can you keep it down? I'd rather let him be worry-free for a little while longer. And how did you find out? I said I can sense chakra. That includes the darkness inside of Naruto's light. Karin didn't bother to keep her volume under control. I didn't know what it was until you told us about Naruto last night, then I started to get some clues. I have another question. I'm almost afraid to ask. If this kept up, Konoha would have a new spymaster. But what is it? I noticed that when we mentioned Kushina, your chakra flared, and that whenever we spoke about her you asked Naruto something similar, and whenever we brought up Naruto's parents your chakra flared the same way. Yep, no, he was retiring. So is Kushina Naruto's mother. Why do you ask things you already know the answer to? Jiraiya whined, both for himself and the future. If Naruto really did manage to become the Hokage, then Karin would be the wife of the Hokage and the world would tremble. She smiled with a gleeful madness. I like it when people say I'm right. But why hide it? Karin asked. Jiraiya sighed, running a hand through his long hair. It was a question he asked himself every day. Naruto's enemies already knew who he was. Minato's enemies didn't care anymore. Hell, most of them were dead. I honestly don't know anymore. Before he could explain himself, Karin nodded, cupping her mouth with both hands. Ooh. Hey Blondie. That Kushina lady is your mother. What, really? Awesome. Naruto shouted, running over to them. His smile seemed all the brighter. Hey, wait. You called my mom a bitch. Yay, and I called you an idiot. Idiot. Yay. He was going to let Tsunade deal with this girl. He was done. 4x. Konoha shined. Komain City, which was larger and more heavily populated, was nothing but a polished rock compared to the village hidden in the leaves that shined like 1,000 glittering stars. The chakra signatures in the city were strong, powerful, proud, each one unique in some wonderful way. Just as with her first visit, Karin was left speechless as she felt Konoha, even the average non-ninja, had more chakra than others. To say nothing of their ninja. At a glance, she counted 100 chakra signatures stronger than the head ninja of her old home, and many of them eclipsed him. But strength and volume weren't all that existed in Konoha. There was a warmth, a finesse, that existed in every single person. It was that undeniable fire that Konoha ninja seemed to have. And Naruto was no exception. If anything, he was the definition of this warmth. Jiraiya had it too, though his was less of the roaring bonfire that Naruto had and more the campfire trying to outlast the storm. The gates came into view, a flat dull blob that marked just one more barrier between her and her new home. One where she wouldn't be fretting when her next meal was, rather where she wanted to eat. Where she would have a roof, a bed, a bath. She found herself smiling, as she felt Naruto's warmth pass next to her, their hands touching for the time between heartbeats. And she would have people that cared about her here. Are you nervous? She asked, intentionally stepping towards him so that their shoulders touched. Naruto bounced away with a laugh. No, I think I'm just really excited. My heart's racing and my palms are really sweaty. You dork, I don't need to know when your palms are sweaty. Karin stuck her tongue out in disgust. But do you remember anything? Not really, but this place feels really familiar. Karin nodded, staring at the gate ahead of them as it slowly began to grow taller and taller her. Why weren't they running at it, screaming like maniacs? Wait, running at a guarded gate of a ninja village screaming like a maniac was probably not good for her health. I'm really excited too. Finally their long journey was over. Finally she could have some peace and quiet. Finally, she could read a book, sample perfumes, eat out, and just do normal things with extraordinary people. Naruto. A girly voice screamed from ahead, and a small and damaged, but strong chakra signature charged at them. It was a girl with pink hair, running at Naruto. Naruto stood frozen, a hand going to his head. Sakura. Oh, so he'd remember her, the girl Inari said that he had a crush on and his teammate. Just great. Wait, this was a good thing. Naruto was regaining his memories, she should be happy for him. The girl crashed into Naruto, pulling him into a hug. You idiot. Do you have any idea how worried we were about you? Everybody's been searching for you since you disappeared. I don't think Kakashi-sensei has slept. Karin felt like vomiting. Her body lurched forward and nearly gave a dry heave. Oh sorry Sakura, it's just I've kind of lost my memories, so I didn't really know I lived here and stuff. Naruto, to his credit, stood there like an awkward fish, completely unsure of what to do. Karin did not like Sakura. There was just something about the girl that pissed her off. But honestly, she had no idea what it was. Wait, you lost your memories? We thought Orochimaru captured you or something, or worse. Sakura took a step back from Naruto, her hands falling to the side. I'm just happy you're alive, and back. Disgusting pink-haired whore. Still, what could she say? This was someone from Naruto's past, a close friend of his, someone that he had a crush on, that he was heads over heels for. Not like she stood a chance against her. Not that she wanted to. She was not after Naruto's heart. Just his house. And his friendship, and Naruto took her hand, pulling her towards him. This is Karin. She's the one that pulled me out of the river. Hey wait. Karin stumbled, tripping over her own 2 feet and landing smack into Naruto's chest. Damn it, you idiot. Don't pull on me like that. I'm sorry Karin, I just wanted you to meet Sakura. Naruto didn't have to sound so happy about it. And why the hell were they still holding hands? Wait, she was the one not letting his hand go. She really should, but. Anyways, Karin, this is Sakura. I only really know her name right now. You really are an idiot, Naruto. Sakura groaned, but she could hear the smile in her voice. Before she bowed at the waist. Thank you for saving Naruto. I know how big of a pain he can be, but thanks for saving him. Yay, no problem, Karin mumbled. Was this respect? Was this what being respected felt like? The earth trembled slightly, like a tree falling far off in the distance. And a large chakra signature was charging right at them. It was kind, motherly, healing chakra, with an aura of authority. But most of all, it was ablaze with fury. Alright, brats, we better get going before Tsunade gets mad at me. Jiraiya grumbled, trying to urge the brats along. Tsunade was the Hokage, the female Hokage of Konoha. And apparently was fond of Naruto. That explained the chakra signature. Karin coughed and pointed in the air just above the gate. I think it's too late for that. Jiraiya had enough time to look afraid before a blonde woman masked in chakra slammed into him, creating a crater where he once stood. Like a great hulking beast, she pulled Jiraiya out of the ground. Jiraiya, you're late. Why are you hurting me? Jiraiya whined. I found the brat. Tsunade paused, head turning towards the 3 of them, even as Sakura took a safe step away. The earth buckled as the Hokage walked towards them, her knuckles popped with thunder. Brat, do you have any idea how worried I was? You have 2 seconds to tell me why the hell you didn't come back. He lost his memories. Karin blurted out. Seriously, how many ridiculously strong ninja did Naruto know? More importantly, why was she standing between Tsunade and Naruto? Wait, her feet brought her here. And why was she glaring in the vague direction of Hokage? She did not have a death wish. He did. Tsunade pried Naruto from her and began to inspect his head like it was a melon at the market. I should be able to fix this, but who the hell are you? I'm Karin, she chirped, bouncing ever so slightly. Karin Uzumaki, I saved Naruto. Tsunade nodded, eyes fixed on the necklace Karin wore around her neck. 4x. Karin sighed, pressing her knees up to her chest. Tsunade had rushed them, rather Naruto, straight to the hospital and immediately began the operation. Soon, the Naruto that he was before he knew her would be back. But what about the Naruto she knew now? What would happen to him? Would he still be there? Would he still like her? Would she even still like him? Wait, where the hell did that come from? You shouldn't be so worried, Sakura said next to her. Despite the empty row of seats across from the operating room, the pink-haired girl had chosen to sit right next to her. Naruto's a tough guy, I'm sure he'll survive. I'm not worried about that at any rate. Even she knew who Tsunade was, legendary Sannin, strongest woman in the world, and the founder of modern medical jutsu. I'm just anxious as all. So I've been meaning to ask you, are you Naruto's girlfriend or something? What makes you say that? Great. Stuttering. Just what she needed right now. I mean, really, everybody keeps saying that. What makes you think that? Well, for one, you're almost always touching him, or holding his hand. Sakura smiled, rocking forward slightly so that her elbows rested on her knees. That and the way you look at him, or rather squint at him, unless you're calling him an idiot, you're always smiling at him. And I don't know, you two just kind of look cute together. Karin snorted, ignoring the fact that her cheeks were burning. Well, sorry to burst yours and everybody's bubble. Naruto is not my boyfriend. She focused back into the room, feeling Naruto's warm chakra, still as bright as ever, even as the darkness of the Kyuubi swirled beneath it. But you'd like to be right? Sakura asked, holding back a laugh. I can tell that you really do care about him. Just shut up, okay? Karin grumbled. Naruto's just an idiot that I pulled out of a river, that owes me a home and a pair of glasses for saving his life. Sakura hummed, leaning back in her chair so that her head was touching the wall. And does that home include Naruto in it? I hate you. Ah, but I thought we were going to be friends. Karin glared at Sakura as best she could. What about you? What's Naruto to you? That shut the pink-haired bitch up. Sakura swallowed, her body now rigid as her hand clutched over her heart. Naruto. Well, he's my teammate, and well, my teammate too, and I just want to see him happy. So why don't you date him? He has a crush on you, right? It's not like that, Sakura said in the most believable tone ever. Besides, I get the feeling that he likes you a lot. PFF'd. Yeah, I'm sure he heads over heels in love with the thin pasty girl that keeps bossing him around. She did not like Naruto, and Naruto did not like her. Right. The door slid open, revealing the easily flustered black-haired woman that the Hokage had dragged into the room with her. Naruto's memory has been restored. Karin rushed past her, her legs moving on their own as her heart raged against her ribs. She knew he was okay, she knew that they knew what they were doing. But still, she needed to see him for herself. Hi, Karin. He beamed at her from his hospital bed. I got all my memories back. And I can't wait to take you to Ichiraku's. They have the best ramen ever. Good. She smiled, walking over to his side, touching his arm. You're still an idiot. Tsunade laughed. I'm starting to like your girlfriend Brat. She's a 13-year-old girl, Jiraiya. Tsunade rubbed her temples as her troublesome teammate followed her into her office. She needed a drink. Today was great, but she had to make sure that everything stayed great. First she had to restore the Brat's memories, then she had to call off about a dozen searches. And now she had to find out what to do with the stray Naruto picked up. How scary can she be? I'm not saying she's scary, I'm just saying be cautious with her. Jiraiya rested a hand on her desk, fingers crawling towards her own hand in another attempt to win her over. It was exhausting always having to be on guard around Jiraiya, even if it did make her feel wanted. She's smart, and clever, and manipulative, and you know what, actually she scares me. Tsunade rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. And what makes you say that? Well, she can tell if you're lying based on your chakra, and she can make leaps in logic that are rather accurate. She found out that Kushina was Naruto's mom based off of what my chakra did when I talked about her. Jiraiya spun around to face her, both hands were on her desk. She's like an evil manipulative version of Minato mixed with a lie detector. How good is her ability to sense chakra? Tsunade asked, she might be a bit biased, but any girl that can make Jiraiya be on edge was a win in her book. Jiraiya sighed and scratched the back of his head. Unbelievable. According to her, she can sense individual chakra miles away. They all have unique feelings to her, so she can easily pinpoint people she's met before, and she can get a general feel of them from their chakra. Not to mention she can tell if they're lying or not. But she can also sense the Kyuubi inside of Naruto's seal. Impressive. And she wants to join the village. Tsunade replied, smiling to herself. Even if Karin wasn't a fighter, she had a unique talent set that was a great boon. She knew all too well how powerful a support role could be. I think she wants to stay with Naruto, Jiraiya laughed. Those two imprinted on each other something fierce. So as long as Naruto wants to live in Konoha, I think Karin will too. And how does that affect your trip? We can't have him trying to master the Kyuubi's chakra so close to the village. Tsunade folded her arms and sighed. You said it yourself, the people are finally starting to respect him, even if just ever so slightly, if something were to happen. I know. She could feel the regret in his voice. He didn't want to leave either, even if it was his MO. And I'm not comfortable taking the girl with me, she'd be both a burden and she'd be wasted on me. That, and I don't teach girls. How progressive of you, Jiraiya. Would you trust me with a girl? Honestly. Yay. Tsunade smiled up at him, watching Jiraiya's mouth fall open. You're a great teacher, Jiraiya, and you might be the most perverted man on the planet, but I've never seen you flirt with anybody that looked underage. But, she continued, I do understand your point, her skill set would be wasted on you. So what are you going to do with her? Jiraiya asked, a smile worming its way onto his face. Tsunade shrugged. I don't know, I'll make up my mind after I talk to her. 4x. Karin stared at the door to the Hokage's office. It was less grand than she thought it would have been. The head Junin of the grass had a bigger office, his had double doors. But still, this was the Hokage's office, as in the leader of one of the strongest villages, and the strongest women in the world by no small margin. And here she was, some weak girl that couldn't fight, about to enter the lion's den. No, she had nothing to worry about. The Hokage loved Naruto, like an annoying little brother or something. Their relationship was weird. But the Hokage wasn't going to hurt her. If she wanted to do that, then why did she send her assistant to get her a pair of glasses? She smiled as she felt the still cold black frames on her nose. They were stylish, comfortable, and the best glasses she had ever owned. It was like she was seeing the world for the first time. For the real first time, everything was so crisp and clear. Was this how people normally saw? It was amazing. But why wasn't Naruto here? Oh right, he was still strapped to the hospital bed with that Sakura girl refusing to let him move a muscle for at least a few more hours just to make sure there's no unusual side effects. And all of his friends had come too. She didn't fit in with them. She was just an outsider again. Was coming here a mistake? This was supposed to be her new home. But once again she felt so much like an outsider. If only they could have stayed on that island, with the boat, and the fire and that beautiful sunset. Wait. No, she was just being stupid. Other people wanted to spend time with Naruto, so she'd just have to share him. Karin. Shizune's voice, the lady that brought her the glasses, caused her to snap out of her thoughts. She didn't even hear the woman, or the pig, somehow managing to carry a tray of tea and a stack of paperwork all at once. Why are you standing there? Is Lady Tsunade asleep at her desk again? No. Karin shook her head and sighed. I was just lost in thought. Shizune laughed. Oh, well, here, hold the tea and I'll let us in. Before Karin could decline or otherwise, the woman forced the tea tray upon her. It was heavy, and wobbled with every movement. How did this lady climb 3 flights of stairs with this and hold all those papers? Lady Tsunade. Shizune asked, opening the door while giving Karin a small knowing wink. This woman was far too kind and was making all the wrong assumptions. Still, she was nice. I brought Karin tea, and the mission reports. The blonde woman behind the desk groaned like a child. Tea. I thought I asked for some booze. Karin bumbled alongside Shizune, doing her best not to trip and spill tea everywhere. The office smelled like booze covered with a strong chocolate scent. It wasn't fooling anybody. What was with Naruto? He seemed to have the natural ability to make old drunk people care about him. First Tazuna and Jiraiya, now the Hokage. You still have a few hours before you're off the clock. Shizune chitted, reaching around the desk. She pulled out an empty bottle of sake. Besides, I think you've had enough. Tsunade huffed, folding her arms and pouting like a 5-year-old. Hey, I couldn't drink for a month because I was too worried about Naruto. I deserve a reward. You drank more then. More pouting. The Hokage was pouting. The latent fear that had been gnawing at the back of her mind vanished, and Karin couldn't help but laugh. You remind me a lot of Naruto. It was like she had disturbed some sacred ritualistic banter. The mood in the room went from happy and cheerful to dreadfully serious, and silence flooded in so that she could hear a pin drop. Tsunade's chakra turned cold and guarded. Like any shrewd businessman, even Shizune's bright aura dropped as though responding to her master's unseen command. Right then, Tsunade gestured towards the center of the room with one hand while the other gathered a separate pile of paperwork. Karin took the hint and stood in the middle of the room, feeling the pressure of what was the beating heart of Konoha. Give these to the messengers. I want all teams to be aware that the search is off Naruto's home, and to thank Suna for their assistance as well. Suna. How many important people cared about Naruto to get 2 villages searching for him? Right away, my lady. Shizune bowed, scurrying out the door, the pig hot on her heels. The air grew cold and stiff, her feet were screaming at her and her legs were already falling asleep like 1,000 needles prickling her skin. The Hokage hadn't even glanced at her yet. She knew why the woman sent Shizune away. She made her comfortable. Both of them. And for this conversation the Hokage did not want her comfortable. Everything felt stiff and rigid, and although the chakra of the outside world buzzed about within the Hokage's office, not a soul moved. Only the ticking of the clock and the steam wafting from the tea gave credit to the passage of time. Tsunade poured herself a cup of tea, taking a small sip of it before her eyes snapped towards Karin. It was a jolt that nearly made her scream. She should not be here. Never in 1,000 years should she be here. She had nothing. No protection aside from some dumb blonde that wasn't anywhere near her. She could have waited for Naruto to recover, then have this conversation with him there. He was her only shield. So, Tsunade purred like a lion cornering a helpless mouse. Death was inevitable, it just mattered how much the lion wanted to play with her. Your name is Karin Uzumaki, correct? She knew that. She even told her as much. Hell, this woman said she was Naruto's girlfriend. Karin nodded, letting none of her fear show. Just one more hurdle. That's right, I'm Karin Uzumaki. She bit her lip, she needed something more. Her hand fell to that green stone that sat on her chest, feeling its smooth spiral. And I'm queen of the Uzumaki. Tsunade raised any eyebrow and smirked. Congrats, you're the queen of a pile of rubble and a bunch of dead folk. The teacup rested on the table with a loud knock that sounded more like thunder. Do you know what that means? I have a pretty necklace. Karin asked with a shrug. If she could get anything out of this woman, a smile, a laugh, anything but that calculating look that could freeze a fire, then perhaps she could get out of this in one piece. True, it's made from the same stuff as my grandfather's necklace, without any of the fame though. The Hokage's eyes flickered to the picture of the first Hokage, one of the only 2 that were smiling in their photo. But it also marks you. Marks me. It was just a stone that, as she claimed, didn't have any fame. It was explained to me by my grandmother, Mito Uzumaki, that the throne of the Uzumaki would only accept one that had all 3 of their clan traits. The first being the most common, chakra chains, something you showed Jiraiya. Tsunade stood, hand tracing the papers on her desk, while the other opened a drawer. And the other 2. Karin felt her heart sink. They were going to know. They were going to find out. This was not good. She didn't want to be used her. It wasn't worth the price. If she begged Naruto they could leave. Go to Suna. He had allies there. Or find another abandoned island where they can spend every day staring at the sunset. The other you claim to have, I believe that it's called, the mind's eye. It was apparently incredibly rare, a sensor ability that was rather powerful, but your claims are extraordinary even by its description. Brown eyes narrowed at her. I'm not lying. Karin mumbled. No, that was weak. She tightened her fists and stood straight, holding the Hokage's gaze with equal parts confidence and pride. I'm telling the truth. You have a genjutsu cast on you. The seal in your forehead holds a lot of chakra. There are 2 strong ninja nearby. One is female, the other is a male. His chakra feels artificial and I wasn't doubting your abilities. You provided more than enough proof when you discovered who Naruto's mother was and sensed the nine-tailed fox even when it was sealed. That's quite impressive. Tsunade closed the distance between them. The older woman wasn't exactly towering, but she was as intimidating as any mountain. The third ability is an odd one. It's the ability to give others your life force via biting. Stupid, stupid, stupid. She should have sold this stupid rock when she had the chance. I don't think I have that ability. She was lying. She was lying to the Hokage. Show me your arms. It was a command, spoken with absolute authority. Show me your arms, girl. Why was she doing this? This was torture. The woman already knew that she had the ability. It was written in the tone of her voice and the way those brown eyes bared down upon her. Slowly, Karin rolled up her sleeve, just enough to show the first of her many bite wounds. Happy. No. Tsunade grabbed onto her arm and rolled up the sleeve as high as it would go. You lied to me. If you knew, you'd just use me. Like they did back in the grass. Tsunade released her arm and turned back to the desk, pulling up another piece of paper. Karin Uzumaki competed on a team from the village hidden in the grass, wore glasses and had red hair. You know that the grass is an ally of the leaf, right? They were going to send her back. She felt sick. Tears welled in her eyes, and her brave front was crumbling. Please, don't send me back. A pair of warm hands clasped onto her shoulders. Karin, I want you to relax. The grass hasn't asked for you, so we won't send you back. Karin looked up at Tsunade in a stunned silence. You're not. You saved Naruto's life, quite a few times apparently, and that damn brat wouldn't let me hear the end of it if I kicked you out of the village. This woman was completely different from the one that had just been grilling her for the past 10 minutes. Her chakra changed as well. It was less a stone wall, and more warm and friendly. Then why did you do that? I need you to be honest with me. I'm going to be your Hokage. And you lied to Jiraiya where you came from and again just now in regards to your healing ability, and don't worry, we're not going to make you use it if you don't want to. Tsunade smiled, reaching into her back and pulling out a headband. A leaf headband. This is yours if you want it. You'll be given the rank of genin. Karin touched the headband. This was she really? You want me to become a ninja? Relax. I won't make you fight if you don't want to. There are plenty of non-combat roles you can fill with your abilities. Sealing, sensor team, medical ninja. You're a smart girl too, I'm sure you'll find some place for you to fit in. Tsunade shrugged, all but shoving the headband into her hands. It also makes things easier on my end. I can give you the same monthly stipend that all genin receive, and I can easily justify finding out a way to clear those bite marks up for you. Karin felt her fingers curl around the metal plate. It was cold but slowly warming up. She was a ninja again, but it was different this time. She had a choice. And she had Naruto. Allow me to be the first to say this. Welcome home, Karin. Tsunade gave her a tight hug that shoved her face into the Hokage's. And thanks for bringing the brat back to us. Now go tell him he's free to go. I just wanted to keep him there so we could have a one-on-one. 4x. Tsunade let out a sigh as the girl turned to leave. She liked Karin. She was strong-willed and stubborn. And putting on such a tough act was exhausting, but she needed the girl to learn that trust was a mutual thing. Who knows what would have happened if they allowed her into the village and some grass shinobi recognized her. Now they could at least be prepared. Is that the fourth Hokage? Karin asked, pointing towards one of the pictures that hung above the door frame. Tsunade smiled. Yep, Minato was a good man and died before his time, but you'll have to take a crash course on our history later. And he's the one that sealed the Kyuubi into Naruto. Yes. Tsunade nodded, despite the fact that the Karin was fixated onto the photograph. He's Naruto's dad, isn't he? Damn, girl nearly gave her a heart attack. Jiraiya was right. Such a troublesome but useful girl. Yay. But don't tell Naruto. At least not yet. Why? Karin looked at her through those square glasses of hers. She had the perfect disapproving scowl that could make anybody feel guilty. I wasn't the one to start the secret, but I can understand why it was started and why we need to keep it until Naruto is a little bit more mature. Tsunade sighed, leaning onto her desk. The Kyuubi feeds off negative emotions, and because of the beast Naruto was looked down upon, in the village. He's had a hard life because of it. With how he is now, telling him that the man that sealed the beast into him was his father wouldn't be a good idea. Shouldn't you trust Naruto more? Just wait until his birthday or your anniversary date or something before you tell him, damn brat. Karin smiled as she left the room. Konoha is going to be a very different place with a girl like her hanging around. When she arrived at the hospital, all of Naruto's friends had dispersed, leaving only Naruto and that old pervert in the room. Their chakras were telling, Naruto was telling, and Jiraiya was resolute. The sun was getting low on her fast day in Konoha, and her stomach was empty. Naruto had to know of a good ramen stand around here, right? And then there was her new home, a place where she could spend all day and do nothing, where she wouldn't have to worry about stuff getting stolen, where she could just be happy. And she'd have Naruto there too, so that was kind of a bonus or something. For the first time in a long time, things were fantastic, no more traveling wandering around aimlessly. Home, she giggled at the sound of the word, feeling it tingle on her lips. Hey, Naruto, you're free to go, Karin announced, strutting into the hospital room, still warm from having so many people in it. Next to his bed, she pushed up on her new glasses, adjusting them and showing off her new headband. Tsunade made me a ninja too. Oh, Naruto lagged, like his brain was still short-circuiting. His eyes darted towards Jiraiya, then back to her, and he forced a smile onto his face. That's great, Karin. Something was off. Did he want nothing to do with her now that he had his memory back? Or was it something Jiraiya said? Well, I best be off, Jiraiya groaned, popping several joints with a stretch. He pulled out a stacked wallet and handed her a wad of cash. You two enjoy a night on the town, my treat. It hurt when he ruffled her hair like he was her grandfather. Remember Naruto, tomorrow. Jiraiya whistled a tune on his way out the door, sandals clicking loudly on the tiled hallways. So, Karin looked towards Naruto, thumbing through the bills as she did so. There was a lot of cash here. What was that about? Oh, Naruto jumped. His eyes were so distant from the ones she had come to know. Jiraiya just wants to train me is all. Then why the hell are you moping around? Karin snapped, dragging Naruto off the bed by his shirt. We're home, you idiot. After running around for a month, we're finally home, so start being happy. So you're going to tell me what the hell is wrong? Right now. The terrified look on Naruto's face was not something she wanted to see often, but it did fill her with pride. I'm sorry, okay. I just remembered all the stuff that happened, like why you found me in a river. Oh, she was such an idiot. Of course he was going to be a bit different now that he had his memories. Even if he was still an idiot. Damn it, that didn't matter. He was her idiot and he wasn't allowed to change. Her throat burned, stomach twisted in knots. Was the Naruto with her gone forever? He had seemed so similar. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to snag words out of the air that would make everything better. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Your new glasses look cute on you. Karin opened her eyes. She was holding Naruto's face close to her own. She could kiss if she wanted to. Not that she wanted to, but it was just that she could, and he was smiling again, like he always did. She could see him so clearly. Every detail of his adorable face was so crisp. And kind of cute in a way, and her face was hot, very hot. Her heart was racing. Why was his face so close? Oh, because she was holding him so close. Was she going to kiss him? She could, couldn't she? And she kind of wanted to. Right. It was normal and Karin, Naruto asked. His face snapped back into focus. He really did have wonderful blue eyes. She dropped him like a rock. Holy crap, they were right. They were all right. She was in love with the blonde idiot she fished out of a river. All the hand-holding, the cuddling for warmth. She rested her head on his shoulder. All of it slammed into her with a sudden clarity. Every time someone asked if she was Naruto's girlfriend, not once did she bother to correct them. It was just easier that way. That's what she'd told herself, but now the thought of it made her stomach fill with butterflies. And now she was going to live with someone she loved. Was that going to make things awkward? No. Yes, maybe. What if Naruto didn't feel the same way? What if he did? They were only 13. Who lets 13-year-olds live by themselves and expect absolutely nothing to happen? Okay, it was fine. She just had to not do anything with him. Naruto was an idiot, so if it took her this long to figure it out, then it'd take him a few years to figure out his emotions. Or not. What the hell was she going to do? Karin. The world snapped into focus, and his face was very, very close to hers. He was standing that close to her on his own. Why was he so close? Was he going to kiss her? Would she let him? Yes. No. She needed a bath. He needed a bath. When was the last time either of them had brushed their teeth? Was it too soon? Are you feeling okay? Your face is all red. Was this some kind of a crappy romance novel or something? If he did the thing where he checked her temperature with his forehead, she'd probably die. Or kiss him. Both. I'm fine. She huffed, turning away from him. She couldn't bear to look at him right now without feeling her face go flush. Why now? Couldn't this have waited for a better time? Not while this Naruto was still newish to her, even if he was the exact same idiot. His hand. With a snarl, she grabbed his hand, weaving her fingers between his, and began to pull him out the door. Why was she doing this? This was way too forward. There was no way that he could possibly not know that she had feelings for him if she did this. She had no idea if that was a good thing. Stupid hormones. Come on, I'm hungry. We're going to go get ramen, then you're going to show me around. Oh, I know just the place. Naruto pulled past her, almost pulling their hands apart. She locked her hand tight. He was not going to get away. You're going to like this place. They have the best ramen in all of Konoha. Oh, they might even give us a bowl on the house for coming back after so long. Man, the old man is great. Another old man. Karin scrunched up her face in disgust. Does this one drink too? What? No, that's just mostly the pervy sage, Tsunade I guess, and Granny. I don't think I know anyone else that likes to drink like they do. Naruto smiled at her, bursting through the hospital doors. There was still something hidden behind that smile though, something that she needed to get to the bottom of. Oh well, that's good. Naruto did not need any more drunken perverts in his life. So, now that you have your memories back, what do you think about me? If this was a romance novel, he'd use this chance to confess to her. That's what she'd do. Maybe. Hopefully. Probably not. You're great, Karin. Honestly, you're one of the nicest people I know. You're also smart and funny, and you can put up with me being an idiot. He tried to pull away from her again. But why are you holding my hand? 'Cause I want to. Karin pushed up her glasses, trying to ignore the growing blush. You got a problem with that? No. He squeaked, submitting to her will like a good boyfriend should. But don't you think people will get the wrong idea about us? Especially with a guy like me. He looked down towards the ground, still pressing her forward. What the hell? Where did this come from? Naruto should have been larger than life, boasting about how awesome he is. Not this. You listen here, Naruto Uzumaki. You are a kind, funny boy, that's actually kind of cute. And any girl worth your time would be happy to be seen with you. Got it? He nodded, lips shut tightly and eyes wide. Thanks, Karin, that means a lot. Especially from you. Now would be the perfect time to tell him how she feels. He's already down, and if she told him that she loved him, then Naruto would realize that he loves her too and everything would be awesome and happy. Wait, no. Not now. She could find a better time, after he told her what was wrong. Then there was that whole fourth Hokage thing. 4x. Ichiraku ramen was heaven on earth. The earthly smell, the heavenly aroma. It was perfection. And it was cheap as well. Her mouth had started to water before she had even stepped inside the building. Naruto. A cute brown-haired lady shouted when they walked in. She dropped whatever she was doing, running around the counter to pull Naruto into a tight hug. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy you're alive. Hi there, Ayame. Naruto smiled, his body going rigged at the display of affection. I didn't mean to worry you guys, I just kind of got lost for a while. Oh, who cares? Dad, look, it's Naruto. Ayame stood up, a giant smile on her face, and tears in her eyes. Wiping her eyes, she spotted Karin, and then hers and Naruto's interlocked hands. And a smile full of mirth appeared. Oh, are you sure you got lost and weren't just busy because you had a new girlfriend? See, everybody thought that they were already a couple. Why disappoint the world? I'm Karin. I fished Naruto out of a river and have been stuck with him ever since. Hey, Naruto whined. Sounds about right. Ayame smiled, placing a finger onto her cheek and thumb under her chin. We gave him free ramen once and he's been here every day since. Naruto fumed. Hey, you guys make it sound like I'm a burden. Or something. Not a burden per se, Ayame began ruffling Naruto's hair. But you are kind of helpless. Karin finished elbowing Naruto in the shoulder. All right, you two, enough teasing the boy. The old man from behind the countertop shouted. Ayame, you get back to work, while I whip up some ramen for Naruto and his friend. First round is on the house. Music to her ears. It could have just been the fact that she was hungry, it could have been that she was just too happy, it could have been because she was with Naruto. But for whatever reason it may be, Karin just could not stop eating the ramen that was a waterfall of flavor pouring into her mouth. We're eating here every day. Naruto hummed in agreement. A tower of bowls was building on the counter space between them. 4x. Naruto's home was a dump. But it was now their dump. Hidden away from the public by a series of stairs and alleyways, it almost felt out of place, like whoever built put it there just because they could. There was no yard, no mailbox, hell they didn't even have a street address. She had never seen a more beautiful home. And just in time too, her feet hurt. The moment Naruto opened the door, she was inside of the modest dwelling. Even with a layer of dust that coated everything, it was still. Karin came to a dead stop. Her spine tingling and her stomach ready to eject the lion's share of her ramen up. What the hell is that smell? She pushed Naruto aside, desperate for fresh air. It smelled so foul. It was all she could do to keep her dinner inside of her. She did not want to have Ichiraku ramen spoiled for her by knowing what it tasted like coming up. Naruto said, emerging from his house, holding his nose in a garbage bag. Month-old garbage. The sun was getting low in the sky and now they had to scrub their home before it was even remotely livable. Damn it. Karin backed away from Naruto, staying as far away as possible as he walked the garbage down the stairs. One thing was certain. We need cleaning supplies. 4x. One trip to the store later, and about 2 hours of scrubbing, everything smelled of oranges and disinfectant. Karin let out a sigh, finally removing her cleaning mask. It didn't really help protect against the smell. She might have gone a little bit overboard, or a lot bit. It had started with just cleaning the kitchen, living room, then it progressed into a full cleaning of the house, which wasn't all that much space. But somehow it had the filth of a house several times its size. How goes the bathroom, Naruto? She asked, tossing the rag into the garbage. It had put up a valiant fight and achieved victory, but there was no recovering it. I didn't know my shower was white. He sounded so happy about that. But I think I'm done. Probably. I don't know what clean looks like. He was such a boy. At least he was a good worker. Well, you can stop now. It's getting late. The sun had long since set, and tomorrow was another day in her new home. One that was going to be filled with more running around with Naruto and exploring the town, after he finished training with Jiraiya, that is. Wandering into their room, Karin bounced onto the small bed, feeling the clean sheets in all their crisp and slightly still warm glory. She was going to sleep so well tonight. Still, she was going to be bored in the morning. She should get some books. She had a month of reading to catch up on. Or find out what exactly Tsunade had in mind for her. No, oddly enough, all she wanted to do tomorrow was spend more time with Naruto. She had it bad for him, and it was the most amazing thing. So, Naruto stepped into the room, standing like a dork in the middle of it like he didn't belong. Where should I sleep? I could take the couch if you want. We'll worry about that later. Karin patted the bed beside her. But for right now, we have a lot to talk about. Naruto nodded, bouncing down next to her. So, what did you want to talk about? You've been kind of off since the hospital, and you're going to tell me what's wrong. His eyes went wide, before they fell again, locking onto the floor. It's about Sasuke. Who? The name sounded familiar. Wasn't that Naruto's teammate, along with Sakura? Wait, that was the name of the boy who saved her in the Forest of Death. My teammate, Naruto answered for her. He's kind of the reason why I ended up in the river where you found me. Now, I was fighting him because Orochimaru put this curse seal on him and was going to use Sasuke as his new body or something. That sounds creepy. Orochimaru, that was another one of the legendary Sannin, and the one that killed several grass ninja to sneak into the Chunin exams. Not that she'd cry over them, she was just lucky it wasn't her. Naruto nodded. Yep, but apparently he had to get a new body before Sasuke showed up, so now I have 3 years to rescue Sasuke. So that's what's bothering you. Karin flopped down onto with a sigh. She could probably recognize Sasuke chakra if she tried, but there was no guarantee. It already felt like a distant echo after bathing in Naruto's warmth for so long. Don't worry so much, I should be able to help you. Yay, I tried to tell Jiraiya that. That wasn't all, was it? The Sasuke news wasn't why he was so down. Jiraiya wants to take me on a training trip. Alone. Without you. What? Her voice cracked, head wiping up from the bed fast enough to knock her glasses off. What do you mean without you? Why the hell can't I come? Is there something wrong with me? Naruto backed away, looking like a guilty dog. Believe me, I don't want to go. Then don't. She grabbed onto his shirt, feeling whatever fury and strength that had spurred her on fading. You can train here in Konoha, just please don't leave. I have to Karin. He wants to teach me something that I can't learn inside the village. Naruto swallowed. And I need to get stronger. I promised that I would bring Sasuke back. You promised that you'd give me a home too. Well, it won't be home if you're not there. So either you're staying or I'm going. She was crying now. The excitement she had built up for herself came crashing down around her, burying her under a mountain of disappointment. I can't. Naruto touched her shoulders. I'm really sorry, Karin, but I just can't. It's because of the Kyuubi, isn't it? Karin snapped back to glare at him for a moment. I can sense it in you. Jiraiya wants you out of the village to teach you how to use it, doesn't he? Naruto's eyes went wide. You knew. Of course I knew, you idiot. I've known for a while, but it doesn't matter because you're still you. She buried her face into his shirt, pushing him down onto the bed with her. Her arms bound his waist. She was not going to let him go. Not now, not ever. She needed to make him trust her, to have him distrust them. Wait, that was it. They know who your father is, by the way, just like how they knew your mom was Kushina. Karin, it's the fourth Hokage, the one that sealed the Kyuubi into you. He's your father and they lied to you, never telling you who he was, keeping it a secret from you. She could feel his chakra. It was warm yet fierce, and the Kyuubi's chakra underneath it was storming. You can't trust them, Naruto. You can trust me though. Karin. That's enough. He pulled her into a hug. It felt nice, with his arms wrapped around her, and the rage in his chakra began to die down, even the Kyuubis faded. I have to do this, okay? And I promise I'll come back to you. Please. She hated how weak she sounded, how desperate she was. Was this how it was going to end? She needed Naruto in her life, his smile, his kindness, his warmth. Everything about him she needed. Would he stay if she told him that she loved him? No, that didn't matter. His mind was made up. He was going, and she was staying. Don't leave me. I'm sorry. Tears carried her towards sleep. When she awoke in the morning, Naruto had already left. Karin glared at the ugly creature that stared back at her in the mirror. It was ragged, with eyes stained with tears, and hair that was even more of a mess than it normally was. Somehow, after 2 days in bed eating proper food, she was in worse shape than she had been trying to survive out there. With Naruto. That was the difference. She should probably do something. Anything. Even just going outside would be more than she'd done since Naruto left. She should probably do that. It'd be good for her. That, and she was out of food. The ramen cups were piling up around the bed. Naruto was right. They really were the best food. Cheap, quick, easy, filling, and tasty. Naruto. She gripped the countertop. That stupid idiot. How the hell could he just leave her here all by herself in the middle of Konoha? She didn't belong here. She belonged with him. Even if he was a stupid jerk bastard. Just thinking about him made her so. Her hands fell from the counter, and she leaned forward, her head pressing against the cold surface of the mirror. Apparently she was wrong. She still had more tears left. Stupid jerk. Come home safe, and fast. Just about 3 years left before he came back. She could live without him for 3 years. She did it for like 13 before she even met him. And she only knew him for like a month. So maybe after a month she'd stop missing him. A hand clutched at her heart. But, I don't want to stop missing him. Such a thing felt impossible, even as her happy memories of their time turned bittersweet. What would people say if she went out like this? Nothing but a mess, wearing her one set of clothes that hadn't been washed properly in days, and her hair was a wild grease-covered mess filled with split ends. Did she even care? Not really. There was a knock on the door loud enough to make her jump and snap out of her thoughts. Her mind's eye sparked to life and she felt Konoha. All the warmth and joy that came from being within a true ninja village was open to her. The range closed in, masses of chakra became motes, motes became people. And people became familiar. It was Sakura, and one of Naruto's other friends. Female, strong, confidant. It must be the blonde girl. What the hell did they want? Sakura knew that Naruto was gone, probably. The girl spent a lot of time around the Hokage doing something and she was close to Naruto, so she had to know he was gone. Why the hell was she here? There was more knocking, louder this time. Karin. It was a muffled through the door. Great, they were after her. Maybe if she just didn't move they would leave. More banging. Karin. I know you're in there. Open the door or I'll knock it down. Violent woman. Fine. Karin growled, stomping out of the bath and slamming door, hopefully loud enough for Sakura to hear, and marched towards the front door. The house shook when she threw open the front door, likely leaving a mark on the wall. What the hell do you want? You look like shit, the blonde girl said. Ino. Sakura chided, smacking her friend in the chest lightly. Be nice. Again. What the hell do you want? Karin growled, running a hand through her tangled hair. I'm a little busy. Doing what? Sakura asked, smiling like a lion before a cornered rat. Moping around because Naruto left you to go on a training trip. Sakura took a step forward. Well, you're not the only one you know. I just got him back for maybe a day and then he's gone again. Him and Sasuke both left me here alone, and do you know what I'm doing? Threatening to break down people's doors. She really should try to be nicer to Sakura. She was Naruto's friend and teammate. But the girl just had a really punchable face. Ino snorted. Sakura huffed and folded her arms. Well, you weren't answering, and you really need to get out of the house. 2 days is long enough to mope around that Naruto left. Especially because we know that he'll come back. She did have a point. Fine, but what do you want? Well, Sakura scratched the back of her head, blushing slightly. Ino elbowed Sakura in the side, offering Karin a wink. Your boyfriend asked her to make sure that you feel at home and Sakura feels guilty. Oh, so that's how it was. Part of her was happy that Naruto was still trying to look after. The rest of her was filled with fury. She slammed the door shut, but it was stopped by an imposing foot. Hey, look, just give it a shot, okay? Besides, Master wants to speak with you later. Sakura was pleading, trying to stick her head in through the door. I'm really trying to be your friend here. Tsunade said that if we could have the day off if we spent it with you. Ino said from behind the door. The girl was starting to grow on her. Ino. Sakura shouted, turning her head back. You're not helping. With a sigh, Karin opened the door, allowing Sakura to stumble into her apartment. She met Sakura's green eyes with her own. Why does the Hokage want me? Well, I think she wants to train you alongside me and Ino. Sakura gave a nervous laugh. I think she might have been a little drunk. Still, it's technically my first day off, so what do you say? Ino snorted like a pig. Police forehead, you're the one that's been working your butt off, days off or not? Forehead. Karin asked, enjoying the annoyed look on Sakura's face. Just a nickname because of how big her forehead is. Ino waved it off like it was nothing. Karin stared at Sakura's forehead. It was rather large, especially with her bangs parted like that. Yay, I can see that. Sakura growled, knuckles cracking as her hands formed into fists. She grabbed Ino by her shirt, growling like a bear roused from a nap. Gee, thanks Ino pig, I appreciate you telling everybody about that embarrassing nickname. So, is she Ino pig because she oinks when she laughs? Or maybe it was just because of her name. Wasn't Ino a word for pig? That seems like a cruel name. The two girls stared at her. Ino's face was red. And Sakura looked to be fighting down a storm of giggles. Then she exploded, grabbing at her sides to keep the giggles inside her. Yep, that's pretty much it. Can it 4 eyes? Ino shouted, glaring at Karin, before turning to Sakura. And laugh it up, forehead, I'll get you back. 4 eyes, huh? She had been called that many times in the past, mostly by her own peers as they pushed and shoved her. But this felt different. There was a joy in it that brought a smile onto Karin's face. Her first smile since Naruto left. As fun as this is, what did you have in mind? The two girls shared a smile that would have swallowed either one of them whole, their bickering all but forgotten. Considering how you're new to town, and don't really have any clothes. Sakura began grabbing onto Karen's hand. She had really rough hands for a girl. We're going to take you out shopping. Spending money. One of her favorite activities, right next to fighting, watching paint dry, and getting bitten. Ino grabbed her other hand and they both began to pull her out the door. But first, a trip to the spa for a much-needed bath and makeover. 4x. She didn't stop missing him. Just 20 more months until he returned. Not that she was counting or anything. It was just constantly at the back of her mind like a calendar behind her eyelids. Sometimes it helped her focus, other times it made it impossible. Still, it didn't hurt so much anymore. Just bitter disappointment whenever she woke up and didn't feel his chakra nearby. Ino let out a groan, collapsing onto the couch like a dying star. I don't know how you two can do this all day. I'm starting to see medical texts when I blink. Karin looked up from her latest medical text about the application of healing missing tissue using hair as a medium. She met eyes with Sakura, a few blinks later, and the two just shrugged. It's like you say, Ino. Sakura has a giant forehead, so she has lots of room up there, and I'm a four-eyed nerd that likes to read. Bitch, Ino groaned, opening one eye and flopping down onto the floor. So how are you guys doing with that seal thing? Sakura's hand flew to her forehead, rubbing at the same spot where Karin felt hers. It felt like there should have been more ceremony regarding one of Tsunade's most powerful techniques. Starting it was easy, a bit of paint on the forehead and some instructions to never stop siphoning chakra to that location. It's doing fine, Sakura said with a smile, giving a weak laugh. It's just a bit draining. I didn't have all that much chakra to begin with. From the ground, Ino flailed, scrambling up to resume her spot at their table. What about you, Karin? Karin felt her cheeks warm. Well, the seal was originally designed by Uzumaki, so it might be a bit easier for me. Wait, what do you mean? I thought Master made the seal. Ino asked, grabbing at the bland crackers Shizune had given them. It was in the Advanced Medical Seals book, Ino. Sakura dug through the text, pulling out a boring yellow book that looked just like the rest of their books. It was developed by Mei Uzumaki, but its most famous user was Mito Uzumaki. Ino groaned onto the table. Both of you are able to do all of this so easily. Oh come on, you're doing just fine, Sakura said. Karin bit her lip. It wasn't that Ino wasn't trying. But, the girl's passions resided elsewhere, like she was only here so that Sakura wouldn't beat her. Not that Karin had room to talk. No, I'm not. I already failed to keep the seal going twice now. Ino whined. So, Karin raised an eyebrow. Shizune couldn't do it either, and she's still a great medical ninja. Yay. Sakura joined in. Come on, Ino. You can't give up now. I'm not. Ino shot back up, slamming her hands onto the table. I'm going to see this through and be more useful to Choji and Shikamaru. That was why those two were here. They were tired of feeling useless. Ino for Shikamaru and Choji. Sakura for Naruto and Sasuke. Compared to them, Karin was just kind of there. Sure, she wanted to help Naruto, but she already had a powerful healing ability in the raw transfer of life force. And aside from the scars she received, it was arguably one of the best ways to heal someone. And in Konoha, she wouldn't be forced to use that ability. Still, as a medic, she wouldn't be expected to fight. For now, this was the best path forward. 4x. A year and a half was all that separated her and Naruto's return. The other half shouldn't even been that bad. She had lots to keep her busy, between Tsunade's training picking up, work at the hospital beginning, and her still trying to find her role in Konoha. Ino now only joined the training and study sessions half as much as she used to, focusing on her other skills instead. Sad thing was that she was still probably one of the better field medics in Konoha. Karin hummed as she walked down the winding hallways of the Hokage Tower, arms full of reports that only needed to be signed with a quick note, after a brief read. The new system she had suggested was working out great, speed was up and overall paperwork was down. By the time Naruto became Hokage, she should have everything running at maximum efficiency. Using her back to push open the door, Karin spun into Tsunade's office. I brought the. Her voice died in her throat. She knew there was another person in here. She could feel their chakra. It was strong, and familiar. She should have remembered his chakra. She should have waited, instead of letting her status as the Hokage assistant get the better of her judgment. The head Junin of the village hidden in the grass turned to face her. Dull lifeless eyes staring at her with all the contempt he could muster as the corner of his mouth twisted upwards into a snarl. Ah, Karin, it is good you're still alive. He turned back to Tsunade. I'll be taking my ninja home as well. No, please no. She dropped the reports. She had been careless. So careless, she should have known he was coming the moment he stepped inside of Konoha. She should have remembered that violent chakra that made her want to vomit. His cruelness froze her to the bone. Excuse me, Tsunade asked, raising an eyebrow. We don't have any grass ninja held captive, nor any living within the city. He walked over to her, grabbing her by the wrist, holding it above her head like she was some prize he had just won. Ah, so she's been lying to you. This is K. Tsunade slammed her hands on the table, making the man jump. That is Karin Uzumaki, last queen of the Uzumaki, a loyal ninja of Konoha, and protected under the Third's proclamation that all Uzumaki refugees will be welcomed inside of Konoha. You can't be serious, this girl is a. The sound of Tsunade's heels tapping against the floor drowned out all sound. With a deliberate slowness that could freeze water, the Hokage walked in front of the tall man, glaring up at him. Despite her diminutive stature, Tsunade's confidence made her appear as a giant. That girl is my apprentice, my queen, and my ninja. Now, unless you want to risk war, one suggest you unhand her. For a moment Karin wondered if the man would do it. Or if Tsunade really would go to war for her. Then the Junin dropped her. Very well, Lord Hokage. With that he bowed and left. His face was full of fury and his chakra was a firestorm of anger. Karin placed a hand over her heart, feeling it beat violently against her chest. She felt ready to pass out at any moment. Thank you. Tsunade placed a hand on her shoulder and brought her into a hug. Don't worry about it, brat. That jerk was pissing me off anyways. Besides, even if he wasn't such, and I doubt Naruto would be too keen if I let his fiancé get taken away so easily. Fiancé? Karin smirked. What happened to girlfriend? The older woman clicked her teeth and released her from the hug. Well, you don't react when I call you that. Damn it, part of the fun of watching young love is teasing them about it. Sorry for spoiling your fun. Blah. Anyways, I have some things I want to talk to you about. Karin began to scoop up some of the scattered papers. Oh, such as, both the Intelligence Division and the T&I Division have accepted your request. Tsunade walked over to her desk, grabbing a pair of scrolls. All you have to do is choose. For 3 hours, he stared at the stern face of the Hokage. He hadn't been in many interrogation rooms, 3 to be exact, but Konoha's was unusual. He was bound to the table, chair, floor, and back onto him by a tangled web of heavy iron chains and more than a dozen seals layered upon one another, so thick they made a buzzing noise. This was not uncommon. But what was weird was where he was being kept. Most places like to throw people into the darkest, dirtiest, foulest pit they could dig out of the earth. Kind of as a way of showing that there was no hope. They also liked to have a corpse in various states of decay hanging from the wall. Instead, Konoha had him in a clean room, well-lit room in a comfortable chair, with his only company being the Anbu that didn't so much as breathe, and a picture of the Hokage sitting opposite of him, like he was just supposed to spill the beans out of respect. These Konoha ninja sure did love their Hokage. She did have a nice rack though. Compared to Kumo, this place was going to be easy. He might even let them keep him here for a bit as a little vacation. Working for Akatsuki was no easy job after all. He earned a break. The door creaked open, and a mouse of a woman slipped in, carefully locking the door behind her. She looked young, with square black frame glasses, and hair the same color as a flesh wound cleaned of blood tied in a neat ponytail. Konoha headband firmly in place. She had on a white coat that looked 2 sizes to be several sizes too small for her, and an array of scrolls and maps in her hand. Sorry I'm late, she stumbled forward, bowing in front of him. I hope I didn't keep you waiting so long. I'm Karin and I'll be your interrogator today. She looked more like a misplaced scholar. No, I was just getting comfortable actually. Oh, that's excellent. Karin clapped her hands, smiling at him like an overly excited schoolgirl. Okay. She was clearly the good cop. Now where was the hard-ass bad cop? So, this is my first time doing an interrogation. Her glasses slid down her nose, she flung her hair back and smiled sitting down across from him. The picture of the Hokage and her pile of scrolls all that separated them. Sitting down she seemed even shorter somehow. So, if you could please just tell me what I want to know, that'd be wonderful. I'm sure I'd get a promotion for it. Was this girl stupid? This girl was stupid, wasn't she? There was no way that he would tell her just because she asked, even if he could. Sorry, you're not cute enough for me to just tell you everything. Her lip twitched into the smallest bit of a smile, before she fell forward onto the table, her head resting next to the Hokage's picture. Oh, pooh. And here I was hoping we could get out of here early. She stood, scratching her head slightly. Are you sure you won't just give me the location? I mean, we'd reward you, and we wouldn't even have to torture you. So it's win-win. This girl was something else. He couldn't help but let out a laugh that caused his stomach to hurt. You got to be stupid, girl. There's no way I'd give you anything. Besides, torture. You Konoha shinobi are too nice. There's no way you'd actually torture. He pointed towards the Hokage picture with his chin. Not with your Hokage watching. He continued to laugh. And the girl began to scramble about, collecting her parchments and spreading out a map before him. I see. She came to a dead stop, and the room dropped 10 degrees. His laughter died and he looked at her in the eyes. Were they always that blood-red color, looking down at him like he was some insult pup that refused to learn? She pushed up her glasses, and pulled off her headband, unleashing a wild mane of blood-red hair. And that smile, that heavenly demonic smile that said one thing and one thing only. He had fallen into her trap. No, it wasn't too late, he could compose himself, he was in control of her emotions. The sound of her forehead protector tapping against the table might as well have been thunder. Its scrapping motion as she pushed it off to the side sent a chill up his spine. The Hokage. She traced her fingers along the wood frame of the picture. Konoha. She placed the picture face down, sealing his fate. Let's forget about those things for the moment. The only thing in here is, you, me, a couple of maps, and that beautiful information you kept locked in your mind. She presented him with a map. His heart was racing. Oh, and let's forget about that little seal in your throat. All you have to do is nod, and point, no talking required. Easy, right? She knew about the seal. How did she know about the seal? This didn't make any sense. No, it was fine, they didn't have anything on him. He could calm down. All we really want is verification. Your friend already told us all we need to know. Friend. No. They couldn't have. Jinburo's mind was a steel box sealed at the bottom of the ocean. If they cracked him, he didn't stand a chance. No, he had to remain calm. Her finger began to travel along the map, wandering around in circles. Where was she going to stop? Was she just doing this to pass time? Was she bored? She was heading towards the secret base in grass. Circling it again and again. No. They knew. How could they know? She stopped right on top of the base. His heart was pounding. You see, we already know. We just want confirmation. You can tell us everything, or we can dig out the information from your mind. I don't really care which. 4x. She really is rather frightening at this. Inoichi laughed, watching Karin tear every piece of information from the man. When it came to gathering information, Konoha had always had two ways of extracting information. His way had always been risky, traveling inside the mind and taking out chunks of information as needed. Ibiki nodded. His way was that of a frenzied wolf. He would tear you to shreds to get his information. Both ways left the victim a broken man. She's bored. Bored? Inoichi asked. Eyes still focused on Karin, she was like a surgeon, carefully removing the information with as little damage as possible. Her gift of reading chakra as well as a natural theatrical personal lended themselves well towards this line of work. How can she be bored? Perhaps bored is the wrong word for it. Ibiki took a step back, hands tight behind his back. But I do not think she will be with us for much longer. But she's good at this. She was a good medic as well. That was a fair point. So what? We're just going to let her walk. When the time comes. Ibiki offered a rare smile. I think that she's so used fighting for her life that nothing else really comes close. A kite only flies because the wind blows against it. That was rather insightful. Inoichi didn't dare take his eyes off of Karin, As her supervisor, he had to be certain of her safety, and take notes. How do you know so much about Karin? Did she tell you this recently? You could say that. Ibiki gestured at her with his hand. Her body language says it all. You'd know that if you bothered to learn how to read a person's body. Inoichi laughed. Learning new tricks is a difficult thing at my age. His laughter died and he looked at the Uzumaki torment the man in the room. Still, it'd be a shame to lose her. She has a lot of talent. For this line of work. Be grateful. If she stayed, you'd be taking orders from her in a few years. That was a very good point. 4x. Any day now. Any day that stupid blonde idiot would show up in her mind's eye and she would have her revenge. It was his own fault, really. Just leaving her all alone in Konoha, to go off and train. Even after all she did for him and all he promised her. Karin squealed into her bed, kicking her legs against the sheets. It was so perfect. She had managed to roll up her revenge, desires, and a plan to make sure that Naruto couldn't think about anybody her into one delicious 12-part scheme. She couldn't wait for him to get back. He better come back tall, and super hunky. Biting her lip, she flopped back onto her stomach, staring up at the ceiling of what would eventually be hers and Naruto's room. Technically it was still his room, even if she did eventually replace all the furniture in it. But she had lived in it for 3 years, so it was more hers. Everything was set. Extra lumpy couch so that he'd come in begging to sleep in her bed. Red nightgown that was going to blow his mind. And then there was perfume. So many wonderful perfumes, she had a hard time choosing which one to seduce Naruto with. In their end, she settled on a lovely cherry scent that was bound to drive him wild. Alright, enough fantasizing. She sat up, slapping the blush from her cheeks. I need to start setting the lab up, and she felt him. On the edge of her vision, she felt that massive warm ball of chakra that was Naruto. His flavor was brighter, warmer, stronger. He had grown. The Kyuubi still raged at his core. He's here. Karin shot out of bed, scrambling towards her closet. This was so soon. She wasn't ready. What on earth was she going to wear? What could she wear? Nothing. She couldn't wear anything. Wait, was that too sudden? Yes, it very much was. The nightgown. Wait, no. The little black dress Ino had forced her to buy. Oh, who was she kidding? She was all over this dress. Would be absolutely perfect. If they were going out on a date. No, she said to herself, shaking the jazz out of her fingers. Stick to the plan, girl. We need to make him as crazy about us as we are about him. Her standard shinobi gear would do, to show him that she is an adult now and a professional. Or at least half as crazy. Some small insignificant part of her mind had told her that she had only known Naruto for a month and that he had been gone for 3 years. That part had been beaten into a corner. And now that he was back, she could feel it. Just his chakra alone was making her heart go wild. Clutching her lab coat, Karin twirled into the mirror. She was gearing up for war. I hope you're ready, Naruto, because you won't know what hit you. 4x. Naruto smiled at the gates of Konoha. Just one more step and he would officially be home. This was it. It felt like his life was finally going to start after a long pause. He'd be able to see his friends, Karin, Sakura, Shikamaru, and the rest of them too. And Granny. He couldn't wait to show off how awesome he was now. He took the step. It didn't feel as grand as it could have been. Where was the parade? The welcoming party? His promotion? Oh wait. No one probably knew that he was back. Oh well. Hey brat. Jiraiya slapped him on his back, nodding up the road. Your girlfriend's here. She's not my girl. Free. The words died in Naruto's mouth as he saw Karin walk through the crowds like a lioness, wearing her confidence with such finesse. Red eyes glared right at him, her gaze of fire shaking him to his very core. It was Karin, all right, of that there was no doubt. Same black frame glasses, same red hair, same green stone around her neck. Same Karin. But oh so much more. A Konoha headband was tied tightly to her arm, and a long flowing white lab coat trailed after her. With graceful glide and brazen stride she sucked him in. Everything around her faded to black and only the sound of her heels clanking against the hard dirt resonated. Hi, he whispered when she was close. His throat was dry, and his mind was blank. Karin. She smiled like an angel. Then kissed him like a demon. Snatching away his breath and taking everything she could. His self-control was lost at her caress, and he kissed her back, willingly giving her absolutely everything. Body, mind, soul, she could have it all. Idiot. Then she was gone, leaving him standing there in the middle of Konoha Street kissing nothing but air. And leaving him incredibly confused. Was that how he really wanted to meet Karin? With a kiss? No, that couldn't be right, could it? She was just a friend. How long to plan to stand there daydreaming, brat? Jiraiya grumbled, walking past him. We better go see Tsunade before she gets mad at us. 4x. Karin placed a hand on her beating heart, smiling. She did it. Sure, it was a genjutsu, but she had finally kissed Naruto. Oh, and his chakra tingling with hers, it was enough to make her go wild. But no, she had to stick to the plan. Still, if that's what a fake kiss with Naruto felt like, she couldn't wait for the real deal. After a bit of torture, of course. That was a life lesson that Naruto had to learn several times in his life. From Sakura getting mad that he said she still looked the same, to Granny always trying to hide her age. He just didn't get it. At least Karin wasn't weird. Okay, she was a little weird, but not that weird. He hoped at any rate. Still, he hadn't actually seen her since he got back, just that weird daydream he had when he first got back. Knowing Karin, she was probably too busy reading a book or something like that to come see him. But then again, he'd only been in Konoha for an hour. Wait, didn't they technically live together? How was that going to work? Hey, Sakura, does Karin still live in my apartment? Naruto asked, walking up the final set of stairs towards the Hokage Tower. It felt so good to be back, everything was basically the same as he left it. Sakura hummed, placing a finger on her chin. Yep, though it can hardly be called your apartment now. Naruto whined. Why's that? It's still my home. It's Karin's home too, has been for the last couple of years. Sakura elbowed him in the ribs. You might be sleeping on the couch for a bit. Great. She had a point, Karin probably had rightful claim to the bed. Maybe she got him a second bed. Or her own bed, but where would she put it? The apartment was small, he could live in the living room, he guessed. That wouldn't be too bad. So, the door to the Hokage's office opened. Karin walked out, head held high, square black glasses framing her face. Her hair was long and wild, half straight, half curly, and the same strawberry red he remembered. Her lab coat billowed behind her as she carried an armful of papers and scrolls. Oh, hi Karin. Naruto bounded towards her. That weird daydream he had replayed in his mind, her look, that kiss, everything still made his body tingle. He didn't even think about Karin like that. Sure, she was a good friend and everything. How have you been? She didn't even look at him, a cool smile on her face. When she walked past him, she flicked her hair, sending a torrent of scent his direction. It smelled like all of spring rolled into one. Cherry, strawberry, flowers, wind, rain, and sun, but it was still uniquely Karin. Sakura. Karin nodded, waving at the other girl before vanishing down the stairs. That was actually her, right? It wasn't just another weird daydream. He preferred the kissing one. At least, that one he knew was fake and had Karin's attention. He watched as her form descended down the stairs, heels clicking on each step. Wow, Sakura laughed, scratching the back of her neck. I knew she was mad at you, but not that mad at you. Mad? Why would she be mad? I just got here. Then again, he seemed really good at making people angry within the first few seconds of seeing them again. Especially girls. Girls were weird. Especially Karin. Sakura just shrugged, giving him the same sigh she used to when he said something stupid. Honestly, why do you think? After what you two went through and then just leaving her here in Konoha. It'd piss me off too. But I'm back now, so she shouldn't be mad, and that was like 3 years ago. A girl's heart doesn't change that easily, Naruto, and honestly, if you can't figure out why Karin would still be mad at you, then I feel sorry for the girl. Sakura pushed him front behind. Come on, Master probably wants to speak to you. Wait, what about Karin? He tried to stop her, but Sakura was a lot stronger than she looked. Ask her about it later. 4x. By the time he was finally able to get home, it was closer to morning than it was to sundown. The moonlight battled with the warm glow coming from inside his apartment. Was Karin still awake? Or did she just leave the lights on? She did seem like a night owl type of person. Good news was that his key still fit. Karin wasn't mad enough to change the locks. Karin, he asked, slowly cracking open the door. I'm home, I think. Please don't be mad at me. No response. She must be asleep. The inside of his apartment was different. Very different. The walls were slowly being devoured by an amalgamation of bookcases of all shapes and sizes that were overflowing with books and scrolls like Karin had stolen parts from the library. Where the bookcases didn't touch, photographs and other items filled the space. A few were of Karin's years in Konoha, a few were of her Sakura and Ino, and a group photo of Karin with a bunch of scary-looking guys. But one photo drew his eyes like moths to a flame. It was of a red-haired woman and a blonde man. The woman was embarrassed, holding a hand to her face while wearing a jacket slightly too large for her, and the man was smiling ear to ear. They were holding hands. His parents. Just like that, perhaps for the first time, his apartment felt like a home. His old couch that he had gotten for free was replaced by a smaller couch, filled to the brim with pillows. A chair that was more cushioned than actual chair sat in the corner. A pile of books reached its armrest. His little TV was still here. The air smelled of a variety of fragrances that was almost strong enough to get rid of the smell of ramen he had baked into the place. Wait, ramen. That was fresh. Following his nose, Naruto found the bowl of ramen and Karin in the kitchen. She was asleep at the table, face buried in a pile of books, glasses pushed up into the tangled mess of her hair. It was enough to make his heart skip a beat. She looked adorable. 2 empty bowls of ramen sat next to her, and a full one across from her sat untouched with a fresh set of utensils. Did she make him ramen? Wasn't she mad at him? Why was she making ramen for him, unless it was for someone else? Karin, he pushed on her shoulder. It's not good to sleep in a chair, and I need to talk to you. She groaned, her red eyes flickering open to a half-awake state. A smile graced her lips. Oh, darling, you're home. Darling. Naruto asked, blinking. Did she have a boyfriend? No, it's. Her arms draped around his neck as she pulled him down into a kiss, or kind of, it was little more than her lips touching his before she fell backwards. Asleep once again. Damn it. What the hell? He scrambled to catch Karin before she hit the ground. That was twice in one day. Kind of. Again his lips sparked. His heart raced and his mind, well, his mind wasn't doing a whole lot. It was filled with absorbing as much of Karin as it possibly could. He had her in his arms, a soft smile on her face as she nuzzled closer to him. Had she always sleep-talked? Sure, she was kind of a cuddle bug back when they were kids, but that was mostly for survival. He should wake her. Actually wake her. No, that was a bad idea. It was late anyways. They could talk in the morning. Placing an arm under her back and one under her legs, and her head resting on his shoulder, he picked her up, carefully walking back towards his bedroom. Or rather, Karin's room. There was a new coat of paint, a soft purple that was easy on the eyes, a desk that was cluttered with papers and coffee cups in equal helpings, and a waste basket filled with bundled up papers. The smell was stronger in here, but different, a soft lilac smell that could only be described as Karin. It called to him, begging him to stay and sleep here. No, that'd just make Karin even angrier at me. He sighed, setting her down onto her bed. Should he put her under the covers? It might get cold tonight. But it was also Konoha, unless it was winter. She'd be fine, maybe just the top cover. There, she looked snug and cozy. When he pulled away from her, something stopped him. Karin was still clenching his sleeves. Please, don't leave. Her hand dropped and she turned in the bed. Again. What the hell? What was happening? Was this because of how he left without saying goodbye? He felt bad about just leaving her before, but now the guilt was overwhelming. He should stay. It'd be fine for him to stay. She wanted him to. Until she woke up and then strangled him in his sleep. It technically was his bed. No. Besides, that'd be weird. 2 teenagers that hadn't seen each other in years sleeping in the same bed. Hell, he barely knew her. Apparently she was a medic nin dropout, a dropout interrogator, and now was working as a researcher for some kind of jutsu thingy. At least she was still technically a genin. But aside from that and the fact that she used to be a bossy when she was 13, he knew next to nothing about her. She did like ramen though. Wait, was that homemade ramen? He was hungry. It'd be a shame to let good ramen like that go to waste. 4x. Karin could barely contain her squeals throughout the whole ordeal. Step 2 and 3 had gone exactly as planned. She lured Naruto in by ignoring him, setting up a facade that she was mad at him, and then made him question everything by pretending to be asleep. She bit her lip and pressed her face into her pillow. There was no way that she could sleep now. Not after that kiss. It took all of her willpower not to press further and blab everything to her blonde idiot now. She couldn't wait. The touching, the hand holding, the kissing, the terrible nicknames, the needless arguments, she wanted it all. And they were making excellent progress. Soon Naruto would be willing to accept her feelings and then hopefully start to fall for her as well. At this rate they might even be able to skip steps 9 through 12. But for now, she'd need to at least try to sleep. Something that might be easier now that Naruto's chakra was so close. That warm, wonderful energy that shined like the sun. She'd missed it almost as much as she missed him. If she was reading Naruto's chakra correctly, then he was conflicted, confused about her and everything else that had happened. But he was also happy. And that was what mattered. She'd talk to Naruto tomorrow, engaging in step 4 of her plan, but for now sleep, and dreaming of her first real kiss with her future boyfriend. 4x. His neck hurt. Karin's couch was too short to sleep on, his feet dangled off the end. He really should have just slept in the same bed as her. Or on the ground, yay, that sounded safe. And better for his neck. There was more than enough pillows to kind of make a bed. A slam on the coffee table shocked him out of his half-awake state. It was Karin. She was in a pair of yellow pajama pants and a loose-fitting yellow tank top. Her hair was a wild mess, pushed over to her one side. She looked comfortable. It was impossible to take his eyes off of her. Coffee. She pointed towards the mug filled with brown liquid she had slammed on the table. She sat in the chair across from him, crossing her legs to glare at him and sip from her own mug. She looked so adorable as she was waking up. Thanks. His voice grated against his throat. Something to drink was just what he needed. It did smell kind of funny though. He was barely about to take a sip. What the hell is this? It's so bitter. Coffee, she repeated, her face still buried in the mug. Apparently it tastes good with curry. The T&I department got me hooked on it. Silence hung in the air as she continued to sip from the mug. He should say something. But what could he say? Sorry for leaving you like that. I'm back so you can stop being mad. I keep dreaming about you kissing me. There were so many different things that he could say, and the one that came out of his mouth was, hi. She raised an eyebrow, her mug now empty. Hi. So, listen about that thing. Crap, he was screwing this up. A sliver of a smile cracked on her face. That was good. It meant she thought he was, well, he actually didn't know what that meant. But smiles were good. I'm sorry I left like that. She shrugged, running a hand through her tangled bedhead. That's only part of the reason I'm mad at you. But I am happy you're back. Happy to be back. But that doesn't mean you're off the hook. That sliver grew, revealing a malicious smile that threatened to eat him up. You have a lot to make up for, Naruto, leaving me high and dry like that. And being late for that dinner I cooked for you. Oh, so that was for me. I thought you had a boyfriend or something. The smile vanished, and a scowl took its place. It was good even when cold. Damn it, she spat, slamming her own mug down onto the table. Her footfalls were like the thunder of an angry god as she stomped towards the door. What the hell do you want? I'm trying to talk to an idiot. She threw the door open, revealing Kakashi. How did she know he was there? Oh right, her sensor ability. Kakashi just waved. Sorry to ruin your reunion. But we have a mission. Akatsuki has captured Gaara. Karin swore, spinning away from the door, her red eyes burning a hole into him. Listen here, Naruto, this is your home just as much as it is mine. So make sure you come back to it. He smiled, and nodded. Don't worry, I'll be back before you know it. It didn't look like she believed him. While all the other steps involved emotional appeal of some sorts, his sense of home, what he thought of her, tricking him into wanting to please her, this step went after Naruto's physical desire with raw appeal. Or whatever appeal she could muster. She did have confidence in her body. But all that seemed to vanish as she stared at herself in the mirror, clad in a pair of red and black panties, matching bra, and of course her glasses. She wasn't, at least not compared to someone like Ino, but she had enough there that maybe, just maybe, she could tantalize Naruto with it. If anything, she looked like a tall little girl. This was a mistake. A huge, colossal, gargantuan mistake. What if Naruto looked at her and thought that she looked like a little girl? Or worse, a little sister. If only you two grew a bit more, then maybe. Now was not the time for doubts or wishes. It was do or die time. Naruto was out there, and if his chakra was anything to go by, he'd be waking up soon. She needed to put her game face on. 4x. Redheaded. There was something magical about waking up to a beautiful directly in line of sight. Her legs went on for miles, tantalizing lines of that extended upwards to her two cheeks of contained in a pair of red and black panties. Above that, was an orange shirt that barely kissed the top of her hips. A curtain of red hair spread a warmth through his body like the first rays of sun. It was as long and as wild as an inferno in the wind, dancing even when standing still. He was completely and utterly enchanted by the red-haired beauty that was in his sights. She turned and the enchantment was broken. It was Karin, half asleep brushing her teeth with a comb stuck in her hair. And a different spell began to weave over him. Karin was hot. Her bed head was just begging to have his fingers tangled inside of it. Half-lidded eyes half obscured by her glasses were glossed overness with a tired comfortness that made him happy to wake up. Then there was the toothbrush half sticking out of her mouth as she gave a giant yawn that was twice as cute as a kitten meowing. Everything about her demanded his attention, and he was all too willing to give it to her. "Were you staring at my?" Karin asked, pointing her toothbrush at him like it was a dagger. What? Did he always sound so stupid in the morning? She marched over to him, her petite frame somehow causing the whole building to shake. "You were staring at my, weren't you? Don't bother lying. I'll know." He swallowed, desperately trying not to notice how the front of her shirt was open, exposing her smooth belly that was just begging to be touched. Damn it. He was attracted to Karin. She was hot, she was his roommate, clansman, and a dozen other things, but she was very few of the things he wanted right now. Yes. Did you like it? What? He must still be dreaming or something. She took another step forward. "Do you like my?" She smiled at him, looking much more awake with each second. "Remember, I'll know if you lie." He shrunk back down onto the couch, trying to press as much of his body into it as possible so that she wouldn't be able to see anything. "Yes." She smiled. "Good." She spun on her heels, walking over to the kitchen sink, her butt jiggling all the way. "I don't like to wear pants at home." She stopped and popped her hip to the side so that her bounced. "And now that I know you don't mind looking at it, I'll be sure to be as pantless as possible." Oh God, why? On the one hand, he got to see that delightful bum whenever they were home together. On the other, he was going to have to try and not look like a pervert in front of Karin the whole time. Something that was becoming increasingly hard. So, Karin finished brushing her teeth and was now running a comb through her hair. "What are you doing tonight?" Wait, was she going to ask him on a date? Was she trying to tell him to ask her out on a date? Did he want to date Karin? Apparently his body thought so. But was she even interested in him? I'm training with Kakashi all day. And at night? She asked, finally working out one last kink in her hair. She lifted her arms up to tie her hair in a ponytail, revealing more of her belly. "We haven't actually had the chance to hang out, so I was thinking about watching a movie here tonight, just the two of us." Oh, damn, it wasn't a date. Still, that did sound better than spending the night camping with Kakashi and Yamato. "That sounds like fun. I'll be here." "Perfect." She smiled at him, pumping her fist, looking fully awake now. "I got a busy day at the lab anyways, and don't worry, I'll be sure to pick up a good movie and some snacks." With that, she marched back to her room. Moments later, she exited fully dressed and ready to take on the world. Naruto blinked up at the ceiling, wondering what the hell was going on. Okay, so he was interested in Karin. But there was no way that she was interested in him, right? Or was she? There was that sleepy kiss she gave him. But after that, what was there? "I should talk to Sakura about this." 4x. Sakura just laughed at him and called him an idiot. 4x. He wasn't nervous. He was just going to watch a movie or two with Karin in his own apartment. That was a perfectly normal thing for people to do. Even more so when they were friends and roommates. But that wasn't entirely true. He was fairly certain that he had a crush on Karin. So, it was just a perfectly normal night of movies with his crush in the apartment that they lived in together. Likely without pants. So absolutely nothing to worry about. He knocked on the door. You live here, you dork. Karin shouted from inside. Now come inside before I start the movie without you. Right, he opened his door. The door to his apartment. That he just knocked on. Sliding into his own apartment, Naruto smelled the fresh scent of popcorn, a bowl of which sat right next to 2 cups of instant ramen on the coffee table. Sorry, I forgot my key. It was a bad lie. But it was better than any other reason he could think of. You know where the spare is, Karin said, bouncing out of the kitchen. By some magic she looked even more, wearing more clothes than she had this morning, literally shaking her at him. It was the same pair of pajama pants he caught a glimpse of when he went to go rescue Gaara. She just looked so cuddly and beautiful. Then there were her glasses and hair. Her square black frames provided a sharp contrast to her wavy hair and soft features, save for that wicked smile of hers that made his ears burn. Did Kakashi train the stupid out of you or something? Or did Sakura forget to beat your sense into you today? Hey, Naruto whined. Sakura doesn't hit me that often. You forget. I trained with her under Tsunade. I know exactly how punch happy she is. Karin smiled, pushing a bit of her hair back over her shoulder. A hand went up to her jaw, rubbing a spot on her cheek. And how hard she punches. Wait, does that mean you can punch that hard? Please say no. Please, please, please say no. He did not need to have another crush on a woman that can punch him out of Konoha. She smiled, giving him a helpless shrug. Not really, I didn't really bother learning a lot of the fighting stuff, and by the time Tsunade was teaching that stuff I already transferred to the T&I division. Oh thank. Anyways, she grabbed his hand with both of hers. They were so tiny, and soft, and warm, and smooth. Come on, let's get started. I borrowed a few movies from Eno. I think we'll like them. They're not chick flicks, are they? Even as he protested, he allowed her to drag him to the couch, which was currently serving as his bed. Karin had made it kind of. The cushions felt comfier than before, and a new fresh blanket was still warm from the dryer was dropped over the top. Nah, she snorted, bouncing down next to him. As if I'd make you suffer through something like that. Thank God for that. He reached for one of the still steaming cups of ramen, blowing on it gently. So what are we watching then? He did not trust her smile. She flicked on the TV and began to slurp from her own ramen. It's a surprise. By the time he had finished his ramen, it became apparent what kind of movie it was. A horror movie. Great. Just great. Now Karin was going to know that he was a giant chicken when it comes to ghosts and spooky stuff like that. It didn't help that it was already dark out and all the other lights in the house were off. Don't do it, he heard Karin mutter, a handful of popcorn inches from her mouth. Her eyes were wide and focused onto the TV as the main character was about to open a door. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Naruto swallowed, watching as the character opened the door. For a moment there was nothing. And still nothing as the character walked into the room that was dark save for a single candle. The character's breath and footfalls were all that could be heard, until the creaking of the door. The lock latched on its own and the candle flickered out. Are you here to play with me? They both screamed, jumping out the childlike voice that echoed from the TV. Hold me, Karin screamed, crying as she lunged towards him, wrapping her arms around his waist and burying her head into his chest. He could feel her heart pounding against her chest. I didn't think it'd be this story. His mouth was dry. Karin was so close, holding onto him for dear life. So this was why guys took girls out to see scary movies. It felt good, and even calmed his growing terror from the movie. With his hand on her shoulder he reached for the remote. Should we turn it off? No, she cried, burying her face into his side even more so. If we stop now I'll never be able to sleep. Just keep holding me, I feel safe like this. His heart skipped a beat. Yay, sure. He was cuddling with Karin. She smelled like cherries. She was inside of his arms, shaking out of fear and clinging to him for safety. It felt good. Really good. Reaching up he pulled the blanket up around them. Karin scooted closer, her arms never leaving his waist even as her hip touched his. Thank you, she smiled. I should be able to watch the movie like this. He wasn't so sure. His mind was still racing over Karin's closeness, and oh god, why was the main character going back into the room? The ghost appeared and they both screamed again. Watching the movie proved to be a mistake. By the time it was over, he couldn't close his eyes without seeing that stupid ghost. And every single random noise in his home reminded him of that creepy little girl. I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight, Karin muttered, pulling herself closer to him. She looked so cute when she was sleepy. Her lips were parted, pointing right at him, begging for a kiss. It would be so easy to steal a kiss right now. All he'd have to do would be to lean in. I know it's late, but we should watch another movie to fall asleep to. One that's a bit less scarier. She clicked the remote. Sure. What is it now? She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. A sappy romance movie about a girl trying to get an idiot to realize she's in love with him. Why doesn't she just tell him? I mean, if he's an idiot, wouldn't it just be easier that way? Still, a romance movie would be a great way for him to fall asleep. Where's the fun in that? Karin yawned into his chest, snuggling into it, her eyes already drooping with sleep. Somehow the couch that was too small for just him was the perfect size for the two of them. So long as Karin was snuggled up close to him like this, he could sleep anywhere. Besides, don't underestimate how dense a boy can be. The movie started. Oh please, nobody can be that dense. His hand was resting on Karin's hip now, his thumb grazing the bare skin of her stomach. Naruto. Karin leaned on him, so that she was as much on his body as she was off it. She was so close. So tantalizingly close. How did she look so attractive half asleep? It was unreal. Her fiery red eyes bore into him, demanding something of him. You are that dense. I am. Sure, girls were confusing and everything. But he thought that it was obvious when a girl liked a guy. They got all blushy and crushy. If you weren't, you'd have a girlfriend right now. She yawned again, pressing her face into his chest once again, so that only one of her eyes could see the TV. But enough about that. Let's watch the movie, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Like he could do that with Karin snuggling next to him like that, her hands freely roaming his stomach. This was great. He was terrified, horny, and confused all at once. Did Karin like him? He needed to know. The movie faded into the background as he watched Karin. What did girls do when they liked a boy? Well, when Sakura liked Sasuke, she asked him out a lot, got really happy all the time around him, and always took his side. And Karin was not really doing any of those things. If anything, she was mad at him. Hey Karin. Yay huh, she mewled. Are you happy that I'm back? He asked, bringing a hand up to play with her hair. It was so long and soft. She giggled, flaming red eyes snapping to him once more. There was no fear or tiredness in her gaze, just pure amusement. What do you think? That I'm a dense idiot that needs things spelled out for him? His arm was asleep. Think about it for a second, Naruto. She moved, sliding along his torso so that the only thing he could see was her face as a curtain of red fell around them, sealing them away from the world. We just watched a scary movie. I'm currently cuddling up next to you like a cat while we watch a rom-com. We live in the same house. I do your laundry, and cook for us whenever you're not away on a mission. Would we be doing any of those things if I wasn't happy you're back? No. Exactly. She purred, looming over him like a predator about to catch its prey, hands on his shoulders to prevent him from ever escaping. Now, what kind of people would do stuff like this? Friends. Her look hardened, then a coy smile grew on her face. Her hot breath smelled like popcorn. Something more. Best friends. She groaned. Seriously, you're with me, right? Boyfriend and. Correct. She interrupted him. And what would a boyfriend do to a girlfriend? Take her out on dates. And. She purred, her nose touching his. Hold hands. She groaned again. If I was your girlfriend, what would you be doing with me right here, right now? This. More. Naruto. Always more. She licked her lips, bringing them within a breath of his own. Paralyzing him in fear. What do you want to do to me right now? His hands were on the curve of her hip. There was only one answer that came to mind. Kiss you. Well, she whispered, sending a chill down his spine. What are you waiting for? Karin's lips were warm and soft. An addicting feeling that sent waves of energy through his body, banishing any feeling that was directly related to the here and now. And it ended far too soon. See, told you we're dense. Karin smiled, pulling away from him, whipping her hair back out of his face. She assumed her spot on the couch, comfortably snuggling into him. I'd love to continue, but that last move legit me up, so just hold me until we fall asleep. Naruto blinked. A hand on the small of Karen's back. What the hell just happened? Did they really just kiss? Was this another genjutsu? Hey Karen. She hummed. Are you my girlfriend? He could see her smile in the darkness. Would you like me to be? Yes. The word came out so easily. Then there's your answer. Naruto was warm, and his steady breathing brought her peace. To say nothing of his wonderful chakra that swaddled her like a big blanket. He was the only bed, blanket, and pillow she would ever need. She closed her fingers around his shirt, balling it up tightly. And he was all hers now. Kissing him had felt as good as she dreamed it would be. With just that smallest bit of lip contact, she had confirmed everything she needed to know about Naruto's feelings and her own. Love. 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 They were in love. Now all she had to do was get Naruto to say it first. Not out of any real sense of spite. It was just fun to torment him until he confessed. Her T&I training would make that part easy. The trick was to get him to realize it. Karen slid along his body, feeling his muscles underneath her. She followed her desire towards his mouth. Just a small kiss before he wakes up and she'll be set. Her lips grazed his, sending that chill down her spine and making her heart flutter. If she had held it for a second longer, he would have woken up. And that would ruin her fun. 4x. He had the weirdest dream. It felt so real. Karen had kissed him, or did he kiss her, and became his girlfriend before she fell asleep on top of him. But that was just a dream. A weird dream that he really wanted to make happen. And why was there a weight on his chest? Wait. Naruto gasped awake, wide-eyed, getting an eye full of the beautiful red hair that was the color of desire. Karen. She was asleep on his chest. Her mouth hung open as he breathing matched his. Both of her hands were clutching onto his shirt for dear life. The sound of her breath was like the song of an angel, coming from one of the most beautiful creatures in the world. Everything about her seemed so perfect and surreal in that moment. Her hair was spread about around her like a frame of wildfire. Light wisps of her hair danced about her head, moving with her breath. She was beyond beautiful. She stirred, pushing up to rub the sleep from her eyes, like it wasn't the cutest thing in the world. Her eyes fluttered open and she smiled at him like a demon, her arms snaking up around his neck as she pulled towards his face. Good morning, Naruto, she purred, bringing her face within inches of his. The way she said his name was something only he should hear. My boyfriend. She kissed him. Softly. On the lips. It exhumed whatever sleep still lingered in his body. His blood rushed, warming his ears and making his body tingle. His own hands found her back, hovering, resting just above her hips. He had never felt so much alive. And last night wasn't a dream. Karen was his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend. This called for running around the town shouting at the top of his lungs that he, Naruto Uzumaki, had a girlfriend. After he was done kissing her, of course. She pulled away, laughing and hiding her blush into the crook of his neck. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for you. Like 3 years. The words slipped out without his consent. She pulled up sharply, her eyes narrowing into a sharp glare. Yes. Don't ruin the mood, you idiot. We have like 30 minutes before I'm needed at the lab and you have to get back to training. Karen fell back down onto him, her hot breath tickling his neck. So let's just do some adorable couple stuff, and make plans for dinner. Couple stuff. He had no idea what any of that stuff was. What was he supposed to do? He didn't even know what he was doing now. Like what? She hugged him tighter. Holding me is a good start, and telling me what you think of me is a good start. His spine tingled, he felt like puking, and he had to pee. But Karen. She was there on top of him. He didn't want to move ever again. She was warm, soft, and just touching her filled him with a sense of purpose. You're like really pretty and stuff. Karen kicked her legs up in town, sending the blanket to the floor and exposing them to the cold morning air. You really suck at that, you know. But I'm really kind of happy about that. How's me being bad at being a boyfriend a good thing? Because, he felt her lips meet his skin, and she sucked. It was weird. Really weird. But felt good at the same time. It makes me feel better about not being a good girlfriend. She did it again on the same spot. And if we become good at it, it means we must really care about each other, doesn't it? Her caress paralyzed him to the couch, as though all of his nerve endings were desperately trying to get to whatever Karin was touching. I think you're pretty good at it already. He managed to eke out. More of that laughter that was honey for his ears. He wanted to hear that noise every day. She pushed herself up, so that she was sitting on his legs looking down at him, her hands touching his face. Well, it's a good thing that you're sweet and adorable. He grabbed her hands, into her touch and smiling up at her. She was beautiful and his girlfriend. His beautiful girlfriend Karin. He couldn't stop thinking about it. And you're like super beautiful and stuff. And stuff. She smiled, tossing her hair back. His face felt warm. She was teasing him. I said I'm not good at this kind of thing. It's a learning process. I'm sure in no time I'll be putty in your hands. But, I like you in my hands like you are now. Naruto raised an eyebrow. It'd be weird. Her smile fell and her eyes glazed over, still locked onto him. Did he say something wrong? How could he have already messed everything up with Karin? She began to laugh, bubbling up as she held her stomach. It grew and grew, going from giggles, to a chortle to a full-on guaf that sent him tumbling off of him onto the ground, taking the blanket and a few pillows down with her. You idiot, she said in between laughs. Give me a warning before you say something so stupid and sweet. So I didn't do bad. Naruto sat up, placing his feet on the ground, as Karin stared up at him. A generous portion of her smooth stomach was revealed. Wait, there was something missing. What happened to your scars? No, Naruto do good. She held up both hands flapping them in the air. He pulled her up, noticing their height difference for the first time. She was just slightly taller than Sakura, just a whole lot more prettier. And don't worry about those scars, Tsunade found a way to remove them a while ago. She bounced onto her toes, kissing him on the cheek, before she walked past him, her swaying hips drew his eyes like moth to a flame. Anyways, we better get ready for the day. Oh, right, he had training to do. He was going to be late too. Yamato wanted to start super early. He ran back over to Karin, grabbing her by the waist and pulling her into another kiss. He wanted to do that a million times. Okay. Gotta go. Let's go to Ichiraku for dinner. It's a date. Karin slapped him on the chest, leaving her hand on in the center. Her eyes were telling him to stay, to forget the outside world for a few more moments and experience what it means to have a girlfriend. You better get going. Okay. I love you, bye. He was out the door and halfway down the stairs before he realized what he just said. That was a normal thing for couples, right? To say I love you. Didn't girls say that there was such a thing as too early? Was it too early? Did he care? Not really. Besides, it wasn't like Karin was going to freak out over it. 4x. It wasn't supposed to be that easy. Karin fell to her legs the second that Naruto left. She felt him standing there frozen on their steps before he took off. Her face was red and her heart was racing. She was so happy and confused, and it took everything she had to act like that around Naruto without completely gushing over him. That idiot, she swore of course he was going to make everything so unbelievably complicated and so easy at the same time. It was way too soon to be saying the L word. How on earth was she going to move into phase 2 if he just kept skipping ahead of everything? Sure, she was partially to blame by rushing her status as his girlfriend, and stealing his kisses. But that didn't mean he could just skip straight to, I love yous. Running her hands through her hair like two rampaging bulls, Karin screamed. Kicking her legs, she fell back onto her floor. Stupid. How on earth was she going to react to that? He was so innocent, and pure, and good-hearted. She froze. And she was going to corrupt his soul. With a devilish smile, Karin looked into her room. That would do. Oh, you're going to pay for this, Naruto, you're going to pay. She caught sight of the clock. Was that really the time? I'm so late. 4x. Naruto. Yamato asked during a break from training. Is that a hickey on your neck? Yay. Naruto pulled his collar, showing off the mark that Karin had given him. She became my girlfriend last night and gave me this. Oh, we also have a date tonight. Don't you live with her though? Kakashi snapped his book shut. Won't that get a little weird? What? Nah. It'll be awesome. People live with their girlfriends all the time, right? 4x. Since when could you eat more ramen than me? Naruto groaned, glaring at his empty wallet. Karin bumped into him. Both of her arms were crossed. Oh, quit moaning. If I wasn't running so late, I'd have remembered my wallet. I'll buy next time. Sheesh. Since when did I start dating a big baby? Last night. He smiled, putting his wallet back, earning a punch in the arm. Her hand dangled there for a moment, just begging to be grabbed. You're such a dork. Karin laughed, taking another step closer. Her hand brushed his. With each swing of her arm they collided again and again. It was driving him crazy. Karin, he scratched the side of his face, trying really hard not to look at her. But he couldn't keep his eyes off of her. Even after watching her scarf down 5 bowls of ramen, she was still the most beautiful person in Konoha. It felt like every time he looked at her she was even more beautiful in some new and exciting way. Can I hold your hand? Dork. She spat, grabbing his hand. You're not supposed to ask. You're just supposed to do it. It's more romantic that way. This is complicated. Can you just tell me what I can and can't do? Naruto asked, rubbing his thumb over Karin's hand. She snorted. Where's the fun in that? But if you must know, there are a few things you can do to me without asking permission. What are they? Please let there be kissing. Please, please, please let there be kissing. Well, let's see. She tapped her lips, smiling like an angel. You can talk to me whenever you want. Karin. She was enjoying this, wasn't she? Yep, she was. Well, you can hold my hand whenever we're walking like this. You can also hug me whenever you want. She led him up the stairs to his home. Their home. His apartment seemed so much brighter than it ever had. It had gone from where his bed was to something more. Something magical. What about kissing? Do I have to ask for kissing? Only if we're in public. She opened the door and gestured to the inside of their home. In here though, you can kiss me whenever I'm. He guided her towards him, kissing her again. It was so addicting. So welcoming. He was completely aware of her mind, body and soul. In this moment they were utterly connected. But besides from all of that, it just felt really, really good to kiss Karin. Everything about her was so well into him. I'm not busy. Karin finished, her eyes fluttering as they parted for a moment. Her face was flushed with heat, and her red eyes sparked with a hint of embarrassment. Actually, you can do that whenever it's just us. Awesome. They settled down for the evening, laughing, watching a movie, though neither one of them could say exactly what it was about, and talked until the wee hours of the night. We should get to bed. Karin stood from the couch, stretching so that her shirt lifted up ever so slightly. That was so hot. She was just so, Karin, I have tests to run in the morning and you're getting close to done with your training, right? Yay. Naruto frowned. I guess I'll see you in the morning then. She gave him a kiss on the nose. Her entire body danced like a candle in a storm as she walked, capturing his imagination and his desires. She paused in the doorway to her room. Oh, there was one more thing you can do without asking permission. Karin vanished into the threshold. A moment later her shirt appeared, being dropped like a tantalizing steak on the ground. You don't have to ask to sleep in the same bed with me. He did not need to be told twice. It was tight, hugging his form, and he doubted he could throw his arms above his head without something coming undone. He was standing at an altar. There was a lot of people gathered around them, all of them well dressed, smiling happily at him. He was getting married. That thought rung through his mind like distant thunder. It brought a smile on his face that could not be diminished. She always brought that smile to his face with just a look, a touch, a word. And how could she not? When her own happiness was so intoxicating. Somehow they had survived as the world spiraled into chaos around them. But she was his rock. His one constant in an ever-changing life. When Jiraiya had died, she was there. When Konoha was destroyed and their home lost. When it seemed like all hope was lost. She was there, smiling at him, or doing that cute scowl she does when she's worried about him. He stood, like a leaf in the wind, fidgeting and waiting for her to appear. It was bad enough that he hadn't been allowed to see her that morning. It seemed like everything had stretched out for an eternity. Every button on his suit took an hour, every lace on his shoes a year. Every breath a century. The world grew silent, the lights dimmed, the air chilled. Such was Karin's entrance. Her steps heralded her beauty, that was such that should he go blind right now, his only regret would that he would not be able to see her once more. Her smile warmed his soul better than the sun ever could. Her hair was the sun frozen at dusk, a brilliant red tied back in a white veil, leaving only a few wavy strands to frame her face that clashed against the black square frames of her glasses. A bouquet of pure white flowers was barely a ghost against her dress. Everything about her was like fresh snow on a cold winter morning. She was perfect, completely and utterly perfect. It was her smile that held his gaze the longest. It was one he got when he did something that made her really, really happy, until he fell into the trap that was her eyes. It was in her eyes that she laid down her soul to him. Everything that she was, her kindness, her manipulative nature, her cunning sense of self-preservation was all there for him to see. And he loved every bit of it, of her. In the time between heartbeats she stood before him. Beautiful beyond words, and soon she would be his wife. How did he get so lucky? Close your mouth, idiot, Karin hissed at him, her smile never fading. His jaw snapped shut with chomp that echoed in his ears. A low laughter echoed from the crowd around them and the world came back into focus. He was at a wedding. His wedding. He was getting married. To Karin. Sorry, you're just so beautiful. He rubbed the back of his head, something that he knew she found cute. She blushed and mouthed, "You're lucky I love you." Her eyes darted down and away from him. She was too cute. We, Tsunade shouted, silencing any further chatter, are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Naruto Uzumaki and Karin Uzumaki. Naruto stood straight and stepped in front of Tsunade. Karin was at his side, casting a sidelong glare at him. Are we doing this right? It's just like we practiced. Now shut up. Karin growled. Oh, she was in a weird happy angry mood, kind of like when she was in that weird happy but crying mood in Holy Matrimony. Tsunade out an open palm to Karin. Do you, Karin Uzumaki, take Naruto Uzumaki to be your husband? What if she didn't say it? What if she said no? What if this was all some trick? His heart skipped a beat as she turned to face him, her smile never breaking. With each passing moment her beauty seemed to double. I do. Her voice was like the first bite of cake. Sweet, fluffy, and delicious. Why did he have to wait to kiss her? Do you, Naruto Uzumaki, take Karin Uzumaki to be your wife? What kind of question was that? Yep. He chirped, smiling down at her. A chill ran up his spine and he saw her eyes narrow at him. I mean, I do. That seemed to make her happy. Man, why was this so hard? When was the kissing part again? He hadn't kissed her in like a whole day. That put him far below his quota of at least 5, or more depending on how often they bumped into each other. Please turn to face each other and join hands, Tsunade instructed with a large smile on her face. The bride and groom have chosen to take their love for each other and write their own vows. Okay. All he had to do was knot this up. Easier said than done. Could he fight Madara again and get a free pass on this? That seemed easier. Karin smiled at him, her small delicate fingers wrapping around his hands, drawing playful circles, then her eyes snapped towards his. I promise to love you without reservation, she already did. To comfort you in times of distress, she already had. To stand by your side as you reach for your dreams, to laugh with you and cry with you. I promise you the best of myself, so that we may continue to grow and love as we always have and always will. I promise you that with me, you are always home. He really wanted to kiss her. He really needed to kiss her. She was so adorable, so beautiful, and what were his lines again? How could he forget them? All he had to do was remember those lines and say them. It should be easy. They were his confession of love to Karin. He could not mess this up. The world stared at him in anticipation. Just don't say the joke lines. Just don't say the joke lines. It's a quick way to die. If she killed him now, then he wouldn't be able to kiss him. I have you when I'm in trouble. Shit. Why was he saying those things? You and I are the perfect couple. Why couldn't he stop? To protect each other from devastation, to unite our hearts before this nation. To treat you with truth and love. To stay together until the heavens above. My heart beats for you at the speed of light. Surrender your love for me on this night. A few laughs echoed from the audience, and Sakura's knuckles cracked. The sound of her teeth gnashing reminded him of the screams of terrified children. Karin just looked at him, one eyebrow raised. Really? Team Rocket? Yow. Naruto howled as Tsunade's heel dug into his foot. That's right. That's the best you could do. She was mad. That wasn't good. I'm sorry, Karin. He looked down at his feet. It still throbbed with pain from Tsunade's assault. But you know I'm not good with words. He looked her in the eyes and felt warm once again. Words just can't possibly describe how much I love you. She melted, her fingers relaxing and a few tears swelled in her eyes. Idiot. Just say that. Words just can't possibly describe how much I love you. Again. She laughed. Words just can't possibly describe how much I love you. Again. She jumped, smiling up at him. Holy crap. Tsunade threw her hands up and walked away. I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. I need a drink. It was Karin that kissed him, pulling him down towards her, and letting all of her love be known in that connect. Once again, the world fell away, leaving only the important things. Him, and her, and that wonderful kiss that connected them. It was just too beautiful for words. Karin was his wife. And he was her husband. They were a family now. Karin, I love you, he whispered, placing a hand on her cheek. That's a good thing, Naruto. She laughed lightly, touching his nose with her own. Because I sure as hell love you. 4x. He had gotten kicked out. Karin, his lovely wife of 3 years, was pregnant and he had gotten kicked out of the emergency room while she was giving birth to their daughter. He wasn't going to be around to see his beautiful baby girl be born. What did he do to deserve this kind of punishment? Sure, he was screaming and running around like an idiot, but what sane husband that loved his wife wouldn't be doing the same thing? His wife was in pain and his daughter was about to be born. He had to do something. Anything. So he paced, walking back and forth. If he stopped, he might not be ready for when they needed him. What if there was a ninja attack? What if some jerk came from the future to kill his daughter? That'd be rude. He needed to be ready for everything. Time assassinations included. What if one of the boy babies in the hospital saw her and developed a crush on his precious baby girl? He needed to prepare the speech. What would he say to her daughter's future boyfriends? Wait. No, that was too much. She wasn't going to be allowed to have a boyfriend until she was married. Yes. That was perfect. Naruto. Sakura growled, sticking her head out of the emergency room, her stomach also swelling with a child. She was only 6 months pregnant and looked to be the same size as Karin, twins apparently. You can come in now. He did not need to be told twice. Thank you, Sakura. There she was, in all of her beautiful pasty red-haired glory, looking so delicate and perfect. Despite everything she had been through. And now, she had their daughter in her arms, a small crying human with hair the color of a peach. Karin looked at him, giving him a toothy smile that would match his own. She looked tired, but very happy. She held up their daughter so that she was facing him. Look, Futaba, it's your papa. Futaba, Naruto asked, reaching out a finger to his daughter. She grabbed it and his heart nearly melted. Yay, Karin sighed, I told you I wasn't going to go with your horrible names. Futaba Uzumaki, the name tasted sweet on his lips. He had a daughter. Tears began to fall from his eyes. He had a family. A beautiful family. It's nice to meet you, I'm your papa.